Sutek. You ain't gonna play the other video? All right. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me turn this banner on. All right. Peace, 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 and Black African power. Welcome back to Kofi Piesie TV with Kofi Piesie Research Team. We have a special guest on today. He's really not a guest. He's a family member. So we have family on today. First, I want to say again, peace and Black African power. ETM Hotep, Dua Aku, Dua Nature, Fatmu Alafie, Fatmu Riwi, Fatmu Iwa Pele, Majuba Iba E Gungun, Majuba Iba E Gungun, Majuba Iba E Lakba, Majuba Iba E Lakba, E Gungun Kiki Gungun. We always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors, because without the ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. I also want to extend honor and praises to the true and living elders according to an African worldview and from an African perspective. For those that's coming in, please like and share the show. Please definitely share the show. This is definitely going to be a great interview. I didn't get a chance to share it, but please share it in various groups if you don't mind, or share it with somebody that you think that may be interested in this discussion. Also, peace to those that may be viewing this later on in the archives. Before we get started with our guests, Brother Sutek, we got Brother Sutek as who's also on the panel. You got anything, Brother Sutek?
Peace to the chat. Peace to my brother Chill, man. I'm glad to have you here. I think this is long overdue, and I'm very much so been anticipating it. So we'll get into it, but make sure, like Kofi said, man, y'all be sure to like the show. Be sure to please share the show. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Help us out with these YouTube algorithms. And let's get to this interview, man.
All right. Before we get into the interview, we have to go through our formalities here. Let me share my screen real quick. Let me share my screen. All right. Share my screen. Share. And peace to everybody in the chat, and peace to my wife in the chat. Thank you for tuning in today, wifey. Thank you for tuning in and supporting me today. You know I was gonna be busted today. Let me share my screen. All right. Let me go. Y'all let me know when my screen is sharing. My screen sharing, y'all.
Nah, not yet.
Why is my sharing? Okay, let me go back. Okay, share screen. That may be why it's not sharing. All right. Okay, it's
There
sharing
we
now.
go.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Again, like I said, we got not a guest, we got family who came to KofiPieSideTV.com with Kofi Pieside Research Team today. That is our good brother, our great brother Kevin MC Chill. We always have to dedicate the show. We always dedicate the show to an ancestor or an elder. So today we're going to be dedicating the show to an ancestor. So I want to say Majuba Ibe George Penmore. Majuba Ibe George Pandora. George Pandora. Let me see if I got him pulled up. I want to read something for people that may not know who he is. And I try to dedicate the show to an elder or ancestor to some of the guests that I think, have some of the same similarities or in the same field and background. So I'm gonna just read this real quick. I'm not gonna read all of it, but George Pandora, June 1903, 23rd of September 1959, born Ivan, Meteorite nurse in Trinidad and Tobago, was the leading Pan-Africanist, journalist, and author. He left Trinidad in 1924 to study medicine in the United States, where he also joined the Communist Party. For more than he moved to the Soviet Union, where he was an activist in the party and working on African independent movement. He also worked for the party in Germany, but left after the uh, Nazism in 1930. In 1935, USSR made a decisive shift of foreign policy. British and French colonial power and colony in Africa, where Japan and democratic imperialism a lower priority than. I'm not gonna read all that, but I just wanted to read a little bit about who he is. I read it last night, but again, he has some similarities. It's chill. So again, I want to say oh, and he went to Ghana also. I don't want to leave that out. He went to Ghana, and he helped shape some of the politics that Kwame Nkrumah had, and he also was a part of the convention People Party as well. So again, Majuba Ibe to George Pendamore. Majuba Ibe to George Pendamore. Um, Let me go back here. Now, again, this is our slogan. As I learn, we all learn. Don't try to steal it. Don't try to do anything. And you've heard it can be copyrighted. It's copy. It is copyrighted. But as I learn, we all learn. We definitely believe in that phrase over here. We stand by that phrase over here, and we definitely demonstrate that phrase over here. We must not let our ancestors down. We hope that our ancestors are smiling upon us and proud because we have picked up their mantle and or their torch, and we trying to continue to run with it. Warrior. So we have to define what a warrior is. It's a warrior scholar show. So a warrior is from the 13 old French Nora, warrior, soldier, combative, one who wages war from the war. Warrior, a person engaged in experience of warfare. Broadly, a person engaged in some struggle of conflict. Scholar, a person who attends a school or studies under a teacher. Pupil, a person who has done advanced studies in a special field. Learned persons, holders of scholarship. Scholar, a person who studies subjects in great detail, especially at a university. We have a lot of brothers who are autodidacts who has not been to school. My perspective of what a warrior scholar is, my meaning of a warrior scholar is one who is well studied, waging war against mistruth, pseudoisms, and willing to stand on the battlefield against institutions and platforms that promote that. A warrior scholar is someone who is on a mission for the truth, for accurate and sound information. A warrior scholar is one who is disciplined, good character, morals, and willing to fight back against those who use misinformation dangerously. And we have formed a misinformation police task force. So you'll be you'll be seeing that a lot here. T'Challa perspective of what a warrior scholar is. A warrior scholar is one who has embarked on a journey to self mastery through rigorous physical training in an effort to better one's state of being. A warrior is one who is embarks on the journey of self mastery through the countless hours of meditation in an effort to learn the art of stillness, becoming harmonious with the environment and all existence. A warrior is molded, guided, and torn down and built up so that the people may live and continue to proliferate. Those who seek this path knows the invaluable gift of humility and knows their place amongst the hierarchy of their people. But what does the warrior has to do with a scholar? A scholar is one who embodies all of these concepts mentioned above with the focus of geared toward scientific literacy. The literacy as a whole, one must first be able to read and then develop a superb reading and comprehension skills in order to properly relay the message received through one's scholastic endeavors. Proper demonstration of methodology in any style of discipline and field of study is uh, study is the only way to reach a proper conclusion. So a warrior scholar is one who fights on behalf of universal truth, one who seeks to truly set the standards of combat of omnipresent misinformation, one who stays in their lane, humility, and does not portray themselves as a master swordsman if they specialize in that spear. All right. Again, if you want your Warrior Scholar shirts, go to www.familyconnectapparel.com and get your Warrior Scholar shirts. So let's get into it. Also, let me stop sharing my screen. Also, go support our various publications that we got out. We got several publications out. Just put out another publication, Beautiful Lessons about Chemo. You can stop sharing my screen. Beautiful Lessons about Chemo, and we have a new project that actually the flyer will be coming out this week for the new project. So we got various projects lined up, but we got a project coming up real soon. We'll announce the date on that, and we'll announce the event that's surrounding that pretty soon. So welcome our good brother MC Chill. I'm gonna just call him MC. I ain't gonna take the Kevin off of the day. MC Chill to the show. How you doing, brother? MC Chill.
Talk to me, Cleveland, and everywhere else that my people are at. I'm good, Kofi, man. My pleasure. Thank you for having me on, bro. So I'm excited. I mostly do the interviewing, so when I get interviewed, it's always appreciated by me.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Can you uh briefly introduce yourself, man, for people that may not know who Kevin MC Chill Hurd is? Can you give a brief introduction of yourself?
Kevin Chilhurt. I'm a brother from Cleveland, born and raised. Lee Harvard, stand up. Uh, I'm a lifelong journalist. I'm currently the president of the Greater Cleveland Association of Black Journalists. We're the local chapter of the National Association of Black Journalists. Thousands and thousands of black journalists all over the country are represented by this organization. A lot of people know me as an old school MC, MC Chill, way back in the golden era of hip hop. Did a few things in that venue, and as a journalist, I'm also a martial artist, uh, long time martial artist. But yeah, I do a lot of things, but I love doing all of them. So let's get it.
All right, let me pull this up. I'm trying to find something here. No, 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 okay. All right. So okay, we gonna deal with some of that stuff in your bio too. I got your bio. But every person that comes on the channel, well, we interview, man, some of the same questions. So name some of your favorite warrior scholars.
Okay, now when we talk about my warrior scholars, you talking about forever in general?
Yeah, yeah, in general.
Oh my God. First and foremost, Dr. Edward Crosby, everybody that's been to Kent State University and gone through the Pan-African Studies Department considers themselves Crosbyites. Hold on, now my dog's barking. I got to yell at him. Hold on. Okay, but everybody considers themselves Crosbyites who's been to Kent State University. Without him, he's nurtured a whole lot of warrior scholars. But hey, a lot of brothers whose information that I read, and now my wife is dragging a dog out of here, but I got to give a big ups to her as a warrior scholar, Dr. Janice Taylor Hurd. She's been on the front lines of academics, of as a Black nationalist, as an educator. So big ups to my wife. And big ups to you guys, man. There's a lot of people in between, but with the Kofi Piesie research team, Science with Sean, Pseudo Killers, man, y'all Mossy Warriors, man, y'all keep me up. Y'all like a cheat code. So just watching you guys and staying in tune and interacting and knowing that you guys have my back, man. Y'all are the quintessential warrior scholars, and y'all always come to the rescue if necessary. So we can do it that way.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. We definitely appreciate it, man. Name the last book you read, or the books you are currently reading, or a book you currently reading.
The book oh man, it's dope. Let me see. A Quantum Life by Hakeem Olusei. This brother who wrote this book called himself a gangster nerd. He grew up on the streets of New Orleans, Louisiana, of Houston, and Mississippi. He sold dope, and now he's an astro freaking physicist. So yeah, y'all want to check this brother's story out.
Oh, right. I got the auto book.
Okay, A Quantum Life. My wife put me on with this book. Yeah, Quantum Life, An Unlikely Journey from the Street to the Stars. So yeah, this I'm like 1/4 into this, but man, just to know this brother's journey is like super dope.
Yeah, we supposed to be pretty soon discussing that. We're supposed to be having I'm gonna have Corey Concrete back on, and hopefully Sean gets some time, because I think he's son Sean the auto book as well. We gonna sit down and we gonna talk about the book, man.
Yeah, so yeah, I think my wife was listening to it on audio and grabbed me a hardback for the library. And he just happened to be a member of my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi, which made it extra cool for me. But yeah, so that's the book I'm getting with now.
Okay, no doubt. Yeah, man. So you mentioned Kent State, man. So what was your major at Kent State?
I went to Kent. I was on my way to Central State, HBCU. My parents both went to Central State. They met at Central State. I was on my way when I graduated from high school. I had a full scholarship, basically, to anywhere I wanted to go that would accept me. And but I was going to where my parents went. And at the last minute, even when I graduated from high school, they announced that I would be going to Central State University on a 4-year endowment scholarship. And at the last minute, I made a funky dope maneuver and changed up and said I wanted to go to Kent. And man, that changed my life. Because although, I didn't go to an HBCU, man, Kent State is a lot like a compartmentalized HBCU. From the Black United Students to the Pan-African Studies Department is like a whole different world. So I went there for political science, but I quickly was drawn into the Black Studies department. As a matter of fact, I took so many Black Studies courses that they took my scholarship away, because they told me not to take another class with the word black in it. And I think the last straw, but they were all for my electives. The way they had set it up at Kent was amazing. You could take English 1 and 2, literature and grammar, in the Pan-African Studies department. And the people that gave my scholarship had a hard time understanding that the English grammar, no matter what building you take it in, is still verbs, nouns, adjectives, dangling participles. It's still the same grammar, regardless of where you take it. And but yeah, I think the last straw, but it was for my reading, my English elective. But the last straw is when I took Kiswahili for my language. It still went for my language elective,
Right.
but by then it was like my seventh black class. I took black awareness, black aesthetics. Man, every class that was named black rhetoric. I took a class called Black Women because there was a lot of women in the class. I thought I was trying to be real slick, but it was like 2 brothers in the class, me and another dude. We was like, oh, this is the class right here. But yeah, no. So I came in a political science major for criminal justice studies, but I quickly got drawn into the Pan-African Studies department at Kent, which, by the way, is one of the first 2 colleges to have a full department for Pan-African studies, not just a Pan-African studies class, but an entire. You can get a major in Pan-African studies. So yeah, that was man. I was reborn there.
Oh, so that's where you became what we call aware at, where you started being more interested in Black studies, your cultural lineage and stuff when you got to Kent State?
I had a little bit. My parents were pretty up on it. As I was young, I remember seeing Elijah Muhammad's Message to a Black Man, and I remember being a little kid and just seeing this brother with like these stars and moons and stuff on his hat. I was like, man, I wonder what's up with that. And they also had Eldridge Cleaver's man, what's the name of the Eldridge Cleaver book? Soul on Ice. And so in Cleveland, it was a nationalist movement going on, and my father knew some of those brothers, but so I had a little bit of information about nationalism, and some of my teachers. I went to all Black schools, so my teachers would put down information. We would read poems by Nikki Giovanni, Langston Hughes, Sonia Sanchez, who I later on got to know and consider her like a mother figure. But when I got to Kent State, it was an explosion of information of a term that I had never heard before then, Afrocentricity. So yeah, and they would just have scholars just roll up all the time. Matter of fact, Malefi Asante, who is credited with the term Afrocentricity, he roll up all the time. So Dr. Ben, Chief Phyllis Sawande, man, it was the Department of Pan-African Studies at Kent State. They were through the 80s, man. Everybody was rolling through, and we got a chance to meet a lot of those cats and kind of hang out and kick it with them.
Yeah, man, that's what's up, man. Yeah, because like I was telling you, before we got on, like I didn't, I didn't know you've been, when I found out that's, you was majoring in, Africana studies, and I already knew you was a Pan-African or whatever, but like I said, I came way late in the game, 2013, and you've been doing this, man, what, over 20 years.
Long time, man. Yeah. And we're a close-knit group at Kent State, the Black alumni. We all roll together. We recently Dr. Crosby just made transition a couple months back. Another one of our good professors, Dean E. Timothy Moore, who had been a student leader in the late 60s, early 70s as a student at Kent, and then became a professor at Kent, and was one of my professors, well loved, and they had a big memorial for him online, and I had the honor of being the moderator for that, man. Hundreds of people showed up to just show love to Timothy Moore. So yeah, but we stay close. As a matter of fact, again, shout out to my wife at Kent. People, they give me love there, but my wife is historic at Kent State. She was the first woman to be Black United Students president. Before her, they had all been brothers. And so when I roll up with her, they be like, "Oh, that's Dr. Taylor, Dr. Taylor Hurd." So yeah, big ups to her too. So yeah, but it's a big family, man, and we all try to stay together and stay up on information and game. But that's where my world really became, just opened up to the whole diaspora of Black people.
Man, all right, man. Now, like I said, because I wanted to throw that in because I was trying to wonder, I was wondering where, like we say, where you became conscious at, or what year you became conscious of where, and I didn't know. Like I said, we've been talking online and build a friendship. I think since maybe since 15 or 2016. It might have been 2016 when you take Wu Jawa class. Was it 2016?
It might have been. I took it twice. I still don't have my certificate, but yeah, when I first took it, I think it was like 16.
Yeah. So that's when I got introduced to you, man, and ever since then, you've been supporting us, and when we was, definitely doing SSU things, Words Wednesdays and Freestyle Fridays, man. You was in the building, we dropped the book, you was supporting the book, you was, sharing Wu Jao's beginner's course book, buying the Hecker Media. I think is it not Hecker Media?
I think it is Hecker Media.
Yeah, okay. It's apparel, man. So you've been you've been supporting, and then when we kind of ventured off and started doing our own things, man, you've been supporting, man. So we, like I said, man, we definitely, man, greatly appreciate you. But I think that was 2016. So I've been knowing you for a few years now, man. You're a solid brother, man, solid brother. So I would just
appreciate it.
Just wondering, when did this record? I'm thinking maybe, this was something that, it fell across you maybe about 10 years ago. But you deep in the game.
Yeah.
Deep in the game.
Yeah, man.
So the music, man, for a lot of people that may not know, like you are you're a rap pioneer. You got into music. Well, I ain't gonna say that because I don't know. That's what I'm gonna ask. But by me doing a little research and the era that you came in was the elevation I can see of hip hop coming in the 80s. You start
Right.
Started coming in the 80s because I think around the late 77, 78. You know what I'm saying? They say
That's
hip
the
hop was
beginning,
born
right.
in the beginning, right? And then it started taking off around about the mid 80s, right?
Right.
Mid 80s. Okay,
They call that the golden era.
Okay, so you just said that the golden era. So what how you get interested into hip hop? How you get interested into hip hop?
Probably and I tell everybody, probably like everybody else that's not from New York, just hearing those early rap records, Sugar Hill Gang, Curtis Blow, Sequence, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, hearing those OGs, who as it ends up, I got a chance to know and meet and had a chance to perform with all of those, all of those people that are the creators of hip hop. But yeah, hearing those early cuts and started, writing my own rhymes and start doing it. And in Cleveland, of course, I'm like one of the first rappers in Cleveland, certainly the first one to have a record deal, a national record deal. But yeah, but I got started just really listening to hip hop and the early hip hop, like I said, the originators, the pioneers, and just kind of falling in love with the culture and the art, and really, was drawn to it and wanted to flex my own skills.
Right. Um, so were you rapping when you was at Kent State? Was you rapping when you around that time when you was at Kent State?
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
At Kent, we formed a rap group called the Bomb Squad. Was like an early rap group in my area, and later Chuck D from Public Enemy, his crew ended up being
Right.
called the Bomb Squad. But even Chuck knows, who's one of my good friends. Even
Okay.
Chuck knows that we had the name the Bomb Squad from the beginning. And Chuck tells the story that he remembers playing my songs when he was a college student at Delphi. He playing wondering how did a brother from Cleveland get on Fever Records, which is a real traditional South Bronx record label. They don't, New York don't really let other cats outside of that community normally just get on like that. So yeah,
Especially at that time.
it was. I tell people, and it's been held until somebody tells me different. I'm the first non-New York rapper to chart on Billboard. Uh, no LA, no Philadelphia, no. I mean, if somebody can show me somebody that's not a New York artist with a song on the charts in January of 1985, January of 1986, then I'll say I wasn't the first. But I've
That's
I've
big,
done the
man.
research. But
Right.
yeah, and I got love from the New York audience because of my New York family, my South Bronx family. They showed me lots of love because they knew I was true to the culture.
Sutek, you had
So,
something? I see your mic was open.
yeah, so you had the bomb squad before the bomb squad. That,
Oh yeah,
I
oh
don't
yeah,
think
for
people
sure.
realize the gravity of that.
Right before that, man, we came up with the Bomb Squad. We was little kids. We came up with the Bomb Squad in like '81.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's dope.
that's
Right. Wow. Yeah, because I mean I didn't know that neither. I found that out digging, me digging too, doing my little investigation.
and
Yeah.
I know that the Public Enemy bomb. I mean, I'm good friends with Chuck and Flav and the Shockleys who produced them. Hank and Keith Shockley, those my guys, man. But yeah, but Chuck, he know.
Yeah. Um. So okay. So you getting all right? You young Cleveland cat I'm trying to paint a picture for everybody because this is the '80s, y'all. This is the '80s. This is, as he say, the golden age. Around '77. Hip hop being born. Then you start to see acts like because I actually um got into I started rapping too at an early age, and my influences was my first introduction to hip hop was Kumo D. Kumo D was Kumo D was I heard him battling Ice T and LL Cool J. So Kumo D was the Kumo D, and then after Kumo D, it was and me going back and me listening to your music man put me in the field. Your music actually took me back to being a little boy listening to the Fat Boys because at that time too, the Fat Boys became one of my favorite rap groups at the time. And then I seen the movie. I fell more in love with them after I seen it. What was the movie they was
Crush
in?
Grove,
Crush
Crush Grove.
Crush
But
Group,
Kofi,
right?
let me tell you. First of all, the Fat Boys were label mates of mine,
Right. I
and
just found that out.
and so were Kid and Play. But I missed being in Crush Groove by maybe a month or so because the Fever Records, the record company I was on, was the club label of the place Fever Records, which is you saw Crush Groove.
Mm-hmm.
Half the movie took place at the Fever. That's where
Mm-hmm.
Sheila E. first saw Run DMC. That's where the Fat Boys kept trying to get into the Fever to get a record deal. So I was on Fever Records, and Rancid Hip Hop was born in 1971. Okay, we can. So but we'll talk about hip hop history, but because it's recognized as going back to to DJ Kool Herc and the first party that he gave over in Sedgwick Avenue in the South Bronx. But depending on what you're looking at it. But anyhow, everybody on Fever Records, the whole entire label, even people who weren't on the label anymore, was in the film. And so by the time the film opened, I was a Fever artist, but they had wrapped right before I had, and I was before Too Short. But anyhow,
so Too Short like you.
I was before Too Short. But yeah, everybody on my label, so everybody in that film, I know every single person in that movie. And like I said, when the movie came out, and I'd already been to the Fever, I knew all the people. I'm like, man, I knew everybody in the movie. But yeah, I just missed being in Crush Groove. But the Fat Boys, those are my guys. We're only just Rock is still with us right now, from the original three. But yeah, those were my cats.
Marky D,
Prince,
B, Prince.
Yeah.
He was my
that was
favorite.
My boy.
Yeah.
Mark was my dude.
Yeah.
He was the coolest one that I was with in the entire group. But yeah, I go back. Those are my contemporaries. Houdini, LL, Run DMC. Those I did shows with them cats. Them my fam.
Yeah. So Fever Records. I was doing some research too on Fever Records. The CEO and the founder of Fever Records, Sal
Abatiello, yeah.
And smart, and me reading some of the stuff on, like he was up on a lot of stuff. Like I was reading something about he was up on the disco when disco was out. He started his first little small club. Then him and his father went and started Disco Fever. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, started
That's
Disco
correct.
Fever. Right, started Disco Fever. 1976.
Yeah, and see, disco has started moving up, uptown to Manhattan, and they were looking to make some money, and the Fever was in the Bronx, and just so happens that this new phenomena is happening in the South Bronx, but it's in the parks and stuff like that. And so Sal goes out and finds these DJs, Junebug, Grandmaster Flash, Lovebug, Starsky. These cats is legends in the streets of the South Bronx as DJs, and he starts bringing them to the club. And then the next thing you know, the Fever is a hip hop club. It's like one of the first hip hop clubs of note. And so how it happened, Kofi, is that all the record companies started coming to the Fever to find new artists. And then Sal was like, screw this. I'm just not providing a platform for other people to sign away all the talent in my house. So he started his own label, and then he started Fever Records. So and everybody on Fever Records was probably from the Bronx. Not just from New York, but from the Bronx, up until he signed a kid from Cleveland, which everybody was like, what the hell? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
But and it was at the same time the legendary Lovebug Starsky. Everybody knows him because Biggie shouted him out.
Right, and that's how I know
Starsky.
Yeah,
but Starsky was leaving the Fever. Starsky was the man at the Fever. So Starsky was leaving the Fever the same time they signed me. So it kind of sort of seemed like they traded Starsky for a kid from Cleveland. People was like, man, what kind of deal is that? Can we do that one back?
Yeah.
But but I came and I did my thing.
Yeah. Was it did what's the name kind of have something to do with him also forming or creating Fever Records or Russell Simmons?
Oh yeah, Russell used to come to everybody had to come to the Fever to get their new record played. And that's what the movie Crush Groove was about.
Right.
Them trying to bringing Running Them's record. And but yeah, Russ was always a big supporter of the Fever, and certainly when I knew Russ from back then, and when he first opened up Def Jam down in Soho, I had been down there a couple times to hang out. But yeah, Russell Simmons, him and Sal was buddies, man, best of friends. So and Russ had a lot to do. Russell Simmons had a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Snotbox. Real question is, could he out beatbox the Fat Boy? Could who out beatbox the Fat Boys? Who are you referring to? Excuse me, Snotball.
All right, well, I had a beatbox in my crew, Beatmaster T. So if you heard this song Downbeats, but Buffy was was tight,
Mm-hmm.
but he's with the ancestors now. But yeah, I roll with my man T, Beatmaster T, on his beats all day long. But I'm a Cleveland representative. But yeah. So I mean, we saw Buff. They heard T down in the Bronx hitting them bass beats.
Yeah. Yeah, you had with your bomb squad, you had all the elements of hip hop in your group, the graffiti, the beatbox,
We had
DJ,
2 DJs.
rapper.
We had 3, 4 MCs. We had Burners who was doing graffiti. My man Ranger, who's now a graffiti ancestor, is one of the in Cleveland. He's like triple OG as the graffiti artist. So when I just our new graffiti cats, when I tell them that Ranger was my boy, they like, man, like he's the graffiti OG. But that was, we all rolled together. So all the break dancers, pop, lock, tick, all them, we all that, it was like a big family that was rolling with us. So yeah, we had all the elements was represented in my camp.
Right. So uh who influenced MC Chill? Who were you looking up to in that era when you was coming into hip hop?
I mean, like you said, I like Mo D, but I'm listening to an early Mo D. You hearing Mo D, uh, the Wild Wild West
Yeah,
Mo
that's
D.
it. That's the
I'm
CD.
I'm hearing the Treacherous 3 Mo D when he's the
Yeah.
chief rocker of a rap group with 2
Mhm.
other cats in it.
Right.
But it's no doubt that Grandmaster Melly Mel from the Furious Five was definitely my influence. He changed the game. He, back before Mel, cats was rapping about, at the party and how many women I got. And, when Mel broke with like, a child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind. When Mel broke stuff that later became the message, but had done those bars even way earlier than that, I was like, oh, we can talk about something. Like Mel was, nobody was talking about that stuff before Mel. You hear his lyrics in Beat Street, newspaper, burning in the sand, and the headline reads, "Man destroys man." Nobody was dropping bars like that. And so yeah, Mel was one of the greatest rhyme writers of all time. It changed the whole game. Now everybody could rap different after Mel. And I had the opportunity to have Mel Grandmaster Melly Mel on my song on MC Story.
And I can see why you would gravitate at that time toward Melly Mel with the content that he was, that he was spitting. So I can see that. So with him on you, how did that come about? The guy who that influenced you, the guy that you can gravitate to, the guy that you can relate to with the messages that he was spitting in his thing. So how did that come about? You getting this guy who influenced you on your first album?
Man, it was a crazy story. I was up at the label and we had the song MC Story, which is my favorite song of all the songs that I've done, because it's really talking about what I really felt at the time and pretty much what I feel right now about being an MC. I suggest anybody go listen to those lyrics. I mean, the music and the style is a little dated, but listen to what I'm saying. And it was like a little break, and they wasn't really doing collabs back then. Not a lot of collabs were happening at that time. I think Run and them jumped on Curtis Blow's song 8 Million Stories, but other than that, there weren't a lot of collabs happening at that time. Now, yeah, that's what they do. But they were saying, who do you want? And, we were throwing around names. And of course, I go right at the top. I'm like, can I get running them? And they like, we might not have that in our
budget.
in our budget. But because running them at that point was where they were the undisputed kings. And so we talked about all the groups that were out, Houdini. And, me and Houdini, we share the people who, quote unquote, discovered us. We were both discovered by Mr. Magic, who people also know from that Biggie shout out, Mr. Magic, Marley Marl. But I was discovered by Mr. Magic. Houdini they named themselves Houdini because of Mr. Magic Houdini. But so somehow I think Mel's name got brought up, and at this time Mel OG, he ain't like a new cat, so nobody really going back like that checking for Mel, because he's old school at the time. And I'm like, wait, that can happen? I can get Melly Mel? And they're like, yeah. But the crazy part to that whole thing is because they had Mel under contract, because the people who with the company also did distribution for Sugar Hill Records, a lot of Buddha records, a lot of old school records. Right. When I interviewed Bobby Brown, he and I consider he and I label mates, because New Edition first came out.
Sure was. Yes,
yeah,
right.
New Edition first came out on a label that was part of that whole distribution company.
Right.
And when I started dropping that to Bobby Brown, he was like, "Damn, you're right." But so they said, we can get you Mel, but we don't want to pay him any writers royalties. We just want to pay him cash, give him a rack. And so you need to write his lyrics. And I'm like, huh? Like that? I don't think that's not how we do it in hip hop. And how I'm going to write lyrics for the brother who wrote the message. Like that's where they do that at. And they was like, no, he gonna be okay. He just want the money. Just write the lyrics. And I'm like, damn, how you write lyrics for Melly Mel? So I went on ahead and wrote these lyrics, man. I kind of channeled Mel, listened to all this stuff. Finally, after throwing away 10,000 pieces of paper, I wrote it, got to the studio in New York, Quad Studios, same studio that Tupac got shot the first time at Quad Studios, same place that I recorded in Manhattan. And Mel walks in looking like Mel. He got like,
is he yoked?
He got fringes. Oh, he wasn't Muscle Simmons back then, but he wasn't all big like that back then. But he had the dreads. He had like a leather suede, little shingles hanging off his shirt and buckles and shit. Excuse me. And so he was. I'm like, that's Mel. And then he said, let me hear the track so I can write my rhymes. And I'm like, oh snap. Didn't nobody tell him I was writing the rhymes. They said, dude, your rhymes already written. He thought that was hilarious. And he's like, how somebody wrote my rhymes? That's crazy. So it was a big thing about that. Finally, they said, listen to the track. Listen to what Chill wrote for himself. His boy said, Mel, that's dope. What Chill just wrote for himself is dope. Mel said, let me see what you wrote for me. I handed him this legal pad that I wrote the bars on. He looked at it, said, give me a pencil. I said, okay, I think this gonna happen. He making some changes. He changed one word. He read the bars that I wrote verbatim. He changed literally one word. At the end, he said, I wrote, and my name is Grandmaster Melly Mel. And he wrote, and my code is Grandmaster Melly Mel. Other than that, he read it the same way I wrote it. It was dope. People say, hey man, Mel hooked you up with a nice set of lyrics. And I'm like, hey, I wrote that. And they like, Chill, you tripping. Them is Mel bars.
You lied. You said,
hey, that's an honor to me for people to think those were Melly Mel written bars. And so yeah, but that's was my hip hop highlight for sure.
That's big, man. I mean, that's big, Chill. That's
had a
big.
dude that wrote the message.
Right. The dude that wrote the
Not only was he on the cut, but I wrote his lyrics.
Right. Are y'all listening to what he said? That's big.
And Kofi, it was a discussion. It wasn't like, okay, you wrote my lyrics fine. It was like, are you crazy? Are you crazy? Do you know who I am? And yeah, it was a little discussion. We parlayed and he heard my lyrics like, okay, I like how you dropping them. And then we went with it.
Hey, I found out about that last night. digging. I was investigating. Like I said, I was just trying to find some more information, and it changed. I had some bars for you today, and after I said, "Well, Kevin, I already know that his bars is immaculate, but this guy here wrote for Melly Mel." I said, ain't no way I'm finna embarrass myself because I know if I spit my bars, I know he gonna come back on here and embarrass me on.
Hey,
you got good bars, Kofi. You know, we done went back a couple times, Kofi.
Yeah, no, I said I don't want no smoke. All right,
hey, Kofi, people don't know. I don't know if people know that you got bars, Kofi.
Yeah,
you nice.
I had a nice one. I had a nice one for you, man. I was gonna spit, to introduce you to the show,
right?
But also introducing to the show. I was gonna let you know I'm the man, and my bars is heavyweighted too. But after that, I would just keep that. I would just keep that on the pad, man.
Much respect for your bars, Kofi. Me and you've been back and forth a couple times on some bars.
Yeah. Snotbox also say, man, was you influenced by all the last poets?
Oh, for sure, man. And I got a chance to interview two of them at the Rock Hall. But not just the last poets, the Watts Prophets, Gil Scott Heron. Oh man, yeah, that was, all of them cats, man, influenced me heavily. Man, me and my boy, we go back to that Gil Scott Heron line about and Whitey's on the moon all the time when something happened, and we just say, and Whitey's on the moon. So Gil Scott, Last Poets, Watts Prophets. Yeah, I checked all them cats, man. Those are the influencers of what became hip hop.
Mm-hmm. They done went back and Brother Zane looked like Brother Zane. Brother Snotbox went back and listened to my story. They said it's
MC Story.
Yeah, MC Story said it's dope. Dope.
Yeah, like I said, music is outdated and flow, but I'll stand with those. I'll stand with what I'm saying to the end.
Oh yeah, and you were spitting and coming to that you had a song in there called is it Open Your Eyes?
Yeah.
Man, can you talk about that? I listened to that track like 4 times this morning. And you was like really spitting on that, man. You and you shouted out Nelson Mandela.
He was still in jail when I dropped his name.
Right, you said free Nelson Mandela.
Free Nelson Mandela. Right. Hey, Kofi, nobody was dropping political, international freedom music when I released that song. Nobody. There wasn't even no Public Enemy out at that time.
Yeah.
So no. Oh man, let me tell you something. When I went to do my album, I knew that I could not go back to the Pan-African Studies Department having an opportunity to make a national record and not drop some information. Because at that time, Kent State was real heavy into the anti-apartheid. We were marching and demanding that the school divested. We found out they had some money invested, and we was like, y'all got to pull that out. And so when I had an opportunity to make the album, I had to have a song on there. I mean, I wish I'd have had more. Like my man Jay-Z, when Hov say, I wish I could be Talib Kweli. I feel what he's saying. I would have liked to make more of that. But Open Your Eyes was special because it gave me a chance. Like I said, I shouted out Nelson Mandela while he was still alive. Stephen Biko, Desmond Tutu had just won the Nobel Prize when that happened. So that was, and I did a lot of work off that song where they just wanted me to come and do that song, but like at freedom festivals and stuff like that, different colleges. Man, I did a show at Brandeis in Boston. They was like, we doing this freedom festival. We want you to come and do Open Your Eyes. But yeah, man, I'm really proud of that song, and I wish that I had been able to do more songs with more Afrocentric standpoints like that. But I was glad And I didn't know how the record company was going to take that, because this is basically an anti-apartheid song in 1986, 85, 86.
Mm.
And nobody was doing that.
Yeah.
So big ups to the record company for, not really, acting goofy about me doing that. So big ups to Sal.
That's dope, man. That's definitely dope. MC Chill. So how did you come up with the name MC Chill, man?
It's always a process. People's names always start out longer than that.
Yeah.
So I think when I first started rapping, everybody in the early days, everybody had like a G, a D at the end. Schooly D, Sparky D, Spoony G. So I was like MC Chili D. And because my middle name is Daniel, so I was MC Chili D. MC Chili K wasn't really gonna work like that. And so the MC Chili D end up being, and then people was calling me Chili, and then it just became Chill. And then I'm at college, I'm in a fraternity, and then I'm just Chill. And so I just kept the Chill, kept the MC, and then I was just MC Chill. And then I added, like, because when it was Chili, people was like chili, like a bowl of chili. And I would say, no, like chill, like chili, like 40 below. And the 40 below part stuck. So people know, they be like, oh, chill like 40 below. That's part of the other. And after that, I just went with nuts with the whole chill.
Oh yeah.
I had chill leaders. So I got the Chilluminati, the Chillumination, I'm on chill board. So yeah, I just went in with that.
So, and I'm asking that is, okay, so, and you definitely was cold. You was cold on the mic. So so the album cover. How with the album? Okay, you on a beach. The setup is like you on the beach. You got the women around you. You laid back in your little beach chair, and you got a trench coat on the beach.
And earmuffs. And earmuffs.
Yeah, and earmuffs.
And winter gloves.
So what was the concept, man, behind the what's the name? I'm like, he on a beach.
Chill.
Yeah, that was crazy. And that was, and here's the other thing that I have to remind people. Up until that time, Fever Records had never had all those artists, Love Buzz, Starsky, Sweet G, all those pioneering hip hop MCs. The record company had never had an album, a full length album before. So everybody only had 12 inches. Right. And so I was the first person on Fever Records to ever have an album.
Okay, so go back to the 12 inches for people that might not know what that is. What is that?
Okay, everybody back in the day, all the rap records came out. It was just one song on a platter, a record, a disc, and it was just one song on it. And that was the 12-inch single. Mm-hmm. So all the early cats from Boogie Down Productions to Big Daddy Kane, all them cats came out with 12-inch singles. Not like a whole album with a bunch of songs on it.
Right.
And so normally when you had a 12-inch, it just was a cardboard cutout sleeve with the center missing, and you could see what it is. So it wasn't an album cover, with artwork on it. So Fever Record had never had, everybody only had a bunch of 12-inch singles. So I was the first one to have a full album. And so I was the first one to have an album cover. And so, it was like, what we even gonna do? So I came up with the concept. I said, hey, I want to, I'll be on the beach with some chill. I want to have my winter stuff on and have some women in bikinis. And so the guy at Suture Records, who did the business part, Art Cass, said, well, where we go get the women? I said, well, Sal does at the Fever. Sal had 2 clubs. Actually had 3 clubs, but he had the Fever, and he had the Devil's Nest, both in the Bronx, South Bronx. Mm-hmm. And I said, Sal does a bikini contest every week, because I've been there and was a judge, and had a ball being the judge of the bikini contest. And so I said, Sal can just get the winners and whatever not. But the crazy part, because I got smoke behind that album cover, because all the sisters, the sisters, The melanated, dark-skinned African-American black women was like crazy late after we already set up the design. And so all those women are what they call now Latinx. They were all Puerto Rican. And but a lot of them are light skinned, so they they like, chill. Why you talk all this black study stuff and you on an album with a bunch of white women in bikinis? And I'm like, actually, they not white women, they Puerto Rican sisters. But yeah, and the sister showed up late. The guy that was the photograph design dude, I was like, man, let him in, let's do it. But I had to leave there. I had a show in Atlanta that next day at the Omni with Shy D, MC Shy D, OG Atlanta cat. He's like the godfather of Atlanta hip hop. MC Shy D, the Boogie, I think it was the Boogie Boys and LA Dream Team. And so I had to go to Atlanta the next day. So I jumped right out of there where we took the photo. And so they wouldn't let the sisters in. We had to keep rocking. And and that's the album cover that we ended up with.
Yeah, that was dope though. I was like, that man.
But yeah, I came up with the concept.
Yeah, I never knew the Disco Fever had a label. This is a dope interview. Peace. I appreciate that, Uhuru John.
Yeah, the Disco Fever, the club, yeah, Fever Records. So yeah, and they still rocking because they did do a lot of what they call freestyle, Latinx music, even still right now.
That comes from out of the Devon Nest. That comes from what they do at the Devil's Nest Club, or
the Devil's Nest was another club Sal had in the Bronx. So I performed in the Fever, which was crazy. My first actual professional performance is in the club where hip hop was pretty much born, where they had seen every OG, Treacherous 3, Kool Moe Dee, Spoonie G, all Grandmaster Caz, the Furious 5. They saw all them cats. The audience is people who have seen the birth of hip hop. So to do your first show there is crazy. So, but you saw the movie. You saw Crush Groove. So it's like that.
I saw. Let me see what Sean Crazy kept talking about. He said, I say chill. What's the word? Yo claim you can rap, but you just a nerd. All that's capping. You ain't rapping. It's for the birds. You just a radio host for the birds.
hey, Kofi, you did yourself a disservice by even reading that foolery that Sean just read.
Sean gonna get flamed out here.
Sean, you did yourself a disservice by even reading that.
Sean crazy. I knew it was gonna be Sean crazy.
I got a question, Chill. What do you think about the evolution of hip hop and where it has gone today?
Well, people ask me that, and I saw it coming, and I said even back then, once you let the genie out the bottle, you can't put the smoke back in. Once it became everybody's and everybody could have their own version of what hip hop was going to be, that was inevitable. I mean, not just everybody's own perspective. You got some cats who not that invested in their craft, but if the beats is dope and you can just say 5 words 27 times in a row and the people be like, hey, and they gonna make money and people rock off of it. That's what it is. But I mean, I like everybody has a different lane of hip hop they can follow now. When back in my day, it was all this. Everybody was in the same lane. Like I said, up until Mel start dropping like the message type stuff, everybody was just talking about who was at the party, who had the best clothes, who had the most women. That was everybody's song until Mel changed the game. But now, cats is rapping about everything. I mean, do I like all of it? No. But some cats got nice stuff, and everybody knows me. I follow battle rap. So I'm down with that culture as well, because that's where we came from. And that's where hip hop came from in the first place. But yeah, I mean, it goes in a lot of different directions, and everybody raps about what they know. And you kind of limit it in your subject matter to where your mind is at, and you can tell where everybody's mind is at by what they're talking about. But
Right.
you know, that's not to, you know, to degrade them, but it's just, that's just, you know, you can only rap about what you know.
Yeah, let's yeah, man, this was I like that, man. I knew um that hip hop. We gonna get on that hip hop. We was gonna be rocking out on that for a minute. I had a bunch of questions, man.
So, hey, Kofi, I just want to add. So, you know, before I started doing it, I was like the experiment of like the first non-New Yorker East Coast cat to be accepted, truly accepted by a national audience.
Right.
Because while it was pockets in the South and the West Coast, they weren't playing, they wasn't playing that in New York. And so I was one of the people that let New York know that other people can do this. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you can share the ball now. It ain't just yours. And you know, I'll say you can tell who the pioneers are because they're the ones with the arrows in their backs. Uh, so you know, I'm back and forth to New York, and people saying I talk funny and you sound country, because you know, people in New York think everybody's supposed to sound like them. But you know, I had a different flow, a different swag. I spoke differently. But like I talked to cats like Dana Dane, my cats, they're like, chill, we was down with you, but we just never knew nobody that wasn't from like the East Coast. He was like the first cat that was really hanging out with us and doing shows with us that wasn't from the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody else outside of New York got, okay, y'all can thank me.
No
Atlanta,
doubt.
Detroit, Chicago, Florida,
That's big, man.
West
Like I'm
Coast.
saying, that's definitely big. Like you definitely did some big things, man. In that era, man, and that's why I said in the rap field, and I definitely when I posted, I put you as a rap pioneer, man. You definitely, man. I'll say right now, you one of my top rappers. Now, you know what I'm saying, because of your content and your lyrics. And I went back, and even like you said, I went back and I listened to your CD, and this was 85, 86, with 85, 86.
85, 86.
And spitting, I already know you can spit, and just listen to back then, you know what I'm saying, and you know, you spit, like I said, like the beats, like I said, the beats put me back in, you know, to me as an early age, because you know it put it, because it put me in the mind of the Fat Boys, because the Fat Boys was, you know, my favorite rap group at that time in 86, 87. And just listening to you, man, you was spitting, man. You was spitting on every last one of those songs, man. I think my favorite is the Open Your Eyes, because I can definitely relate to that. And I like the Prophecy. You know what I'm saying? And I even had a line in there what I was gonna talk about, you know what I'm saying, my prophecy, but I said I'm gonna leave.
Kofi, you was ganged up, ready to
Man,
drop
I'm
bars on
telling
me.
you, I was ready. All yesterday I just was repeating it to
See,
myself.
Kofi,
I got
you know you started that whole thing before my spitting bar. You started all of that drama
I know
by
it, man.
coming at me like that.
Yeah.
But no, but you know, Prophecy, that's a song, you know, they never released it in the States, but like in the UK, in Europe and in London and all that, man, that was like a big song in the UK on Prophecy. And yeah, man, matter of fact, I don't know if it was, no, that was an MC story where I shouted out Mo D. And I saw Mo D somewhere in LA, and I was like, yo, I'm MC Chill. He was like, okay, I know you. You shouted me out on one of your songs. You said to have the power of cool Mo D. And I'm like, man, Mo D knows one of my lyrics. But it was cool to know that Mo D even had, well, he called out the shot where I said his name. But yeah, no, prophecy is one of my, I put a lot, and people have come to me and said I forecasted. I ain't trying to be pseudo, but they saying the stuff that you talked about that was going to happen in hip hop happened in hip hop. When you hear me saying this stuff that I wrote in '85, and I'm even saying dates like in 10 years this is going to happen, and people like, damn, chill, you called that one out.
Yeah. I was trying to find the brother Snotbox had was it Snotbox or somebody else had a question about Cool Herc.
Zane, I got a picture of me. I normally have a picture of me and Cool Herc. Normally I had a picture right behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the OG. He is the recognized father of hip hop, DJ Cool Herc. And I had plenty of chances to meet Cool Herc and be around him at the Fever, because I mean everybody was at the time hangs out at the Fever, but certainly I've got a chance to parlay with Herc, and I would love to interview him. But yeah, normally I have my Cool Herc picture right behind me, but I'll be looking all over for it. But yeah, that's, man, DJ Cool Herc. That's the OG. That he's ground zero for hip hop.
Yeah, I'm trying to find his question because he was in the chill. Okay.
Yeah, is he Jamaican American? Yeah, he for sure is.
Yeah, he said he was asking you, have you heard? I mean, have elders said that the hip hop was influenced by a Jamaican DJ? Also, he is familiar with the ideal and
100%, because a lot of the songs that became hip hop songs, they say back in Jamaica they did like what they call toasting, and with Herc being from Jamaica, and I think a lot of the early hip hop cats, I think maybe even Flash, Grandmaster Flash, lineage comes from Jamaica, but a lot of the early hip hop cats have that Jamaican background, but certainly Cool Herc, and so it definitely weighed heavily on hip hop and where it came from and the direction that it went.
Okay. No doubt. Let's move on, man. I've been enjoying this interview too, man. Let's move on, man.
So we get caught up on the hip hop.
Yeah, man. But I enjoyed it because I learned a lot more about you. You know what I'm saying? Just off the hip hop conversation, man. And like I said, my respect for you, man, as an MC is definitely. I already respected your bars, but I definitely now.
And that's what I want people to know, Kofi. Like, don't just listen to them. For the people who go back and listen to what I was saying in 1986, don't think I don't have bars.
Yeah, you got
it. All right, go ahead.
And you done wrote for Melly. I mean, you wrote for Melly Mel too, man. That's big, man. I'll never come at you again, man. I know you a smash. I thought I had a lit chance. I know I ain't got no chance, man. You wrote for Melly Mel.
That was definitely an honor, man. That was an incredible. I mean, it was cool just that he was going to be on the song. I was good with that.
Right.
But me actually writing it and it just happening like that is just made it even more special.
No doubt. Now let's get into, man. Let's talk about vaccines, vaccination, man. So I already know, but I'm just asking it, to put it on record, man, and and people can see, what your position is, man. So are you pro vaccine?
Man, I'm pro vaccine, man. I'm so pro vaccine. No, I've been pro vaccine just from being scientifically literate. Kofi, we've been fighting this fight, like Ox says, before the pandemic. We was fighting this fight back just about vaccines when the anti-vaxxers, back with the MMR causes autism, so I've been riding with the science from that. So I give y'all, man, mad credit for just keeping me up. I mean, I have a lot of other resources that I get information from, but man, the way that y'all share it and just the process and the way, you know, y'all talk about it, the whole research team, Science with Sean, how all the pseudo killers, even how Jao was given the information, just put me game on. I can't front. Put me game on to just being up on it as much as I was. But certainly, you know, like I've said, I have, you know, my own doctor, and you know, my doctor Greg Hall is like the head of the African American Medical Association. But my primary doctor before that was Dr. Benita Cole, who you've seen on the show and during the debates and whatnot. She was my actual primary care doctor. And man, I would suggest everybody have a doctor, one that they know personally, and two, a Black woman. But just from Dr. Cole, how cool it was to have a doctor, a primary care doctor that was my friend, and that's what led me after she left Cleveland. I hooked up with Dr. Gregory Hall as my primary care doctor. But yeah, no, I've been in the vaccine battle against misinformation, and y'all, man, just, you know, your whole family just really put me game on to the level that I was able to be. I can't even front on that.
Okay. What's up, Sean? Sean jumped on the panel. What's good, Sean?
First of all, I want a ranch right now. Secondly,
you got a ranch?
No, I don't.
Oh, you talking about for the Science with Sean? You don't, but
I got no ranch.
Sean got
now,
one.
Secondly, I don't want to talk about that right now. Secondly, you don't want these Dylons. You don't want the hot fire. You do not want the hot fire.
Sean, don't stop. Don't do it. Sean, y'all sent y'all's best cats after me. Kofi came with the heat, and who else tried to jump on me? Who else tried to?
Vince, you know,
from y'all cat.
Lutek dropped some, not no Sephiroth.
It was a Sephiroth. He jumped out there.
Yeah.
Sean, they left you on the sidelines for a reason.
Nah. I got the creative genius. I got the creative
mic off. Sean, I'm here, man.
Hey, you don't want no boss, bro. You don't want smoke.
Man, you know, I didn't think I was gonna have to do this during me getting interviewed, but see, Sean.
Nah, man.
I got Sean, Kofi, look what I had to do to Sean.
Hey.
Stop.
Hey.
I didn't think I was got to pull that out.
I'm in the mood right now, bro. So let me ask you a question though, for real.
Okay.
All right, so there's a dude on one of my posts that I posted today. I actually, to save him the embarrassment, and it might not have been right, I just could have let him be embarrassed, but I deleted his comment. Now, the reason that I deleted his comment, because he's claimed to have read all of these articles, but all he's doing is going back into Google and looking for something to support his statement. I mean, his claim that ivermectin works on the ivermectin videos. Now, from you just paying attention to whatever outlets that you get your information from and your understanding about treatments and things of that nature, because I know I asked you a specific question for Dr. Benita Cole.
Right.
And ivermectin showed up in that questionnaire.
Right.
So would you think that Dr. Cole would prescribe ivermectin as a treatment for you if you were infected with COVID?
First of all, let me let everybody know Dr. Benita Cole has a biology degree from Stanford, and she has a medical degree from Howard. She's been a physician at the Cleveland Clinic, and she's currently, which she never says on my show because she says she's not there representing her job, just herself, but she's a physician at Johns Hopkins. So that's her background, the degree in biology, a medical degree, and she's worked at two of the most prestigious hospitals on the planet, Cleveland Clinic and Johns Hopkins. And Sean, you asked me specifically to ask Dr. Cole, would she prescribe? You was ivermectin, but what is it? Sean, ivermectin, and it was like two other things:
zinc, vitamin D,
and vitamin C. And you asked me to ask her, would she prescribe it to her patients? And you know, Dr. Cole, she don't do a lot of words. She just said no. So that's
right. Yeah. She gonna cut it right down the middle.
And that she don't have a lot of discussion about it. She said no. And like I said, she not only has a medical degree, she has a biology degree.
All right, so the reason that I asked again, going back, my bad, Kofi, but going back is because there was a gentleman on the post who was emphatically posting over and over and over again, like 20 things about ivermectin, but his dates was all wrong. So what I did was to kill it instantly, I posted the retraction post that came behind the clinical studies. But he never read it. He just kept posting and kept posting and kept posting and kept posting. And then I was like, bro, it's two retraction documents there on the clinical trials and a study from JAMA. From last year, they were saying that it wasn't showing any promise. So how does that make you feel when a brother is adamant about something working that does not work?
I mean, it's sad, and then that's a problem that we're having with misinformation and not going to the experts, not doing legitimate research. And because I see the question on here right now, it says, how does Chill feel about the guy he debated? Does he feel the guy's left with more clarity? First of all, it wasn't a debate. They asked me to talk to that brother because they had, and Sean knows, they had interviewed him earlier, probably months earlier, about his stance on the vaccine. And what they did, like an hour-long interview with just him. So they asked me, would I have a discussion with him, just to sit down? They asked us both questions. And it kind of seemed like a debate because he was saying so many things that I disagreed with. I had to, retort. And actually, we talked. I don't know. We might have talked for 2 hours. It is that piece was heavily edited because sometimes you see me responding to something that you never heard him say. But there were times where he said like 10 things in a row that I disagreed with all of them. And I would say, okay, everything you just said, I disagreed with, but I don't actually remember everything you said, but I'll talk about some of the points that I do remember. But at the end of the interview, I asked him, and I don't know, I'm sure they probably have it on camera and they didn't use it. I kind of leaned over towards him, not too close because I knew he wasn't vaccinated. But I did see Sean, and I'm only halfway through the discussion that you had on Science with Sean. But somebody asked about, he wasn't wearing a mask. They did make him take a COVID test before we sat down to do the interview. And they even asked me when we started, would I, give him the bro hug? And I was like, hell no. I'll give him a fist bump. But yeah, they had him take a COVID test before we did this. But no, he didn't seem, I mean, he may have, if he went back and listened to some of the information that I gave because his whole thing was he didn't trust the system. That was the majority of where his information was coming from. And basically my response is, you can't let fear and racism cause you to make incorrect health decisions. As Ankh says, it's repercussions. What is that? What Ankh said? Not repercussions. It's consequences to that. But I don't know. I think if he went back and reassessed, and I got 11 kids, man. I think if he goes back and reassesses just that he can't let, because they did us wrong, or they treated us bad in this study, or they've been trying to do this to us, I'm not going to take this life-saving drug. So hopefully he'll go back and have some clarity. But I asked him, did he have some clarity on it right after the interview, and he went, nope.
That's crazy. You did an excellent job, man. You definitely did an excellent job, and I think if I was, lingering with some questions or on the fence if I hadn't got, but I'm fully vaccinated, you brought some clarity to some things, because a lot of times when a lot of people that talks about the vaccines, you hear the talk that he was talking,
right.
The government, they did this to us and they did that, and I'm not saying that we hadn't been done dirty,
right?
We have been done, and we have done dirty, and a lot of people, and their examples is the Tuskegee experience. That I'm telling you, every time that is their go-to thing, and they're misinformed when it comes to the Tuskegee thing. You know what I'm saying? And I think people would have a more understanding if they go and study viruses, and not only study viruses, they study the different vaccines data from back in the days. They go study smallpox, they go study cowpox, the measles, all these other different viruses, and what it took to make these vaccines.
You've been reading my book.
Right, and even the mRNA, you know what I'm saying, this new evolutionary vaccine that they has come out, which was finna be a game changer. This mRNA is finna be a game changer for so many different viruses. You take this one thing and you're immune to this, that, and the third, you know what I'm saying? So I just think people just have to, start reading and start studying and stay off of the TikTok videos.
Oh my God, man, Kofi, Sean, this cat the other day was talking to me about who was definitely an anti-vaxxer and was a non-science believer, and he was like, well, you see, now that the Delta variant is out, did you know, why would I take the vaccine and I can still get it, and the Delta variant, it doesn't even. I'm like, okay, hold on. Why are you talking to me about a Delta variant? Why are you talking to me about any variant, much less a Delta variant? And you're coming from a non-scientific stance. Like, you wouldn't even know about a Delta variant without scientific medical information. Like, correct. So you can't be non-scientific and don't stand on a scientific literacy platform and then talk to me about a Delta variant. Stop. Don't do it. Stop. That's crazy. That's counterintuitive.
Yep, y'all see that, man. Y'all see that up there? I just put up there.
But here's the other thing, though. Yeah, I'm saying that's irrelevant. Here's the other thing.
I done made somebody else subscribe you.
They want to have
all good. It's all good.
They want to have a conversation about science, right? They want to have a conversation about science and then try to refute science without science and just talk about scientific data that they don't understand. Because, like I put on social media the other day, today, 0.002% of the mortality rate. I am specifically taking 630,000 COVID deaths in the United States, and I am saying that out of 630,000 COVID deaths, 0.02%, 0.002% of those, the mortality rate in the country are people that had breakthrough infections. That doesn't even make up a percent of the total number. And we are on social media going back and forth with people about 0.002%. 100%. And what's disingenuous is that, similar to like the behavior of Hank, oh, I'm gonna unsubscribe. You're not even willing to learn. You don't even know what you know. You assume, like this TikTok attention span, you assume that you know something, and then the data shows otherwise. Why should I listen to you? What makes you right? What study? What clinical studies? Since you're going to say, because you say that same thing to me, when I put the information out there and you say, well, you're not in a lab, you're not a scientist. You're right, I'm a science enthusiast. So I'm going to lead you to the expert data. I'm going to make sure that you have the proper information to make an informed decision. So when I ask you, what lab did you come to a conclusion on that these vaccines cause infertility, and you can't show me any data of that, why the hell am I listening to you?
Yeah.
You're putting our people in harm's way. But yeah,
hey, man, let me tell y'all something. And we got a game up, because I did have a few, like on the 2 radio station channels here, on the radio station website, or I don't know if they were Facebook pages or their website, but anyway, the 2 FM stations here, they put my commercial on there. Man, them people was hot with me. They were after my neck. I was an agent, an Uncle Tom, a clown, a traitor. Oh my God, they were on me. And at least one dude still wants some smoke from everybody. He was like, I said, man, we can do this publicly. And he was like, yeah, I look forward to it. And he's serious, because he checked back, he rolled back up on me a couple days ago, like, oh, I'm still here, I'm still waiting. I thought we was doing this publicly. Where your people at? I'm like, okay, now you following me. Okay, listen, we'll do it. But
look at us still.
Yeah, he wanted. But he hasn't come right out and said that what he has stated is he's against the way I presented it on the commercial. Now I don't know what all he wanted me to get into in a 30-second, 60-second commercial, but I stand by that whole we're Tuskegeeing ourselves. I stand by that. So he was like, where do I come from? Who raised me? What's wrong with my soul? I'm like, really? We doing it like that? So okay, I'll let you know who raised me, and where did I come from, and what's in my heart and soul. We can. And he was like, get your people. He said, get your. I'm like, okay. So we'll set something up, and
that dude is from Cleveland, right? He's the same, because he was my Facebook friend. Like he got a black and white picture, right? Looks a little shaved head or whatnot. That guy, like with an African name.
I had to look to see.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah. He was my Facebook friend, so I unfriended him. Okay, here's why: because he came on my post, and then he just began to give his opinion on a post where I provided statistical data. So if I'm providing you with statistical data and a study, right? If I give you a cohort, now this is what people don't know about scientific evidence. There's something called a mountain of evidence in science. The strongest evidence is always going to be those double-blind placebo studies that are cohort studies that are randomized, that are controlled. So you have a controlled, randomized, double placebo study, and you have a huge amount of people participate in those studies. And they don't know if they got the placebo or if they got the real thing. Right. This is how they do it. Now, they did this with ivermectin, right? They did it. They used the placebo, and then they gave people ivermectin. Well, what they realized is that they saw no effects. Nothing changed. It didn't slow down the recovery rate. It didn't prevent certain aspects of certain things. So they came to no conclusion on it. There was no conclusion. However, the people at ivermectin or whoever did another study, right? They did a phase 2 study and manipulated the data to present it as if certain people, a certain percentage of the people in the study, show significant gains. Scientists recognized the faulty data when they reviewed the dang on trial information because it had to be published to them and made available under clinicaltrials.gov. So once they reviewed it, a week later, you see the retractions start to come out because they start to find faults in the data. So when someone's arguing with me or having a conversation with me or asking questions, I want to see the data.
Right.
Sean,
If you can't show me something, huh?
Explain the double-blind study. Explain that.
And the placebo, because people
explain that because a lot of people may not know what you're saying.
Double-blinded study means that you have basically a certain number of people. Let's just say 500, 250. You're going to select to take one drug. 250 you're going to select to take another drug. So to say, I'm just saying drugs, right? In the instance, both groups think that they're taking ivermectin, but one is given a placebo, which would be a fake drug, and one is given the real thing, which is ivermectin. But they do not tell the people until the results is out and they unblind the trial results. Placebo is just a fake pill, okay? So when it's double-blinded, that means people on both sides don't know what they're taking. They only know once it's been unmasked and revealed to them at the end of the study.
Hey, but Sean, isn't part of the double-blind process even the people who are administering the drugs also don't know which ones get the real one and which ones get the placebo?
That's correct.
That makes it the double. That's the double part.
That makes it the double part. They got the triple, the triple too.
The triple blind, but even the people administering don't know.
Hey, Kofi been learning, ain't it? What you been reading, Kofi? What you been reading, Kofi?
That new fire that's coming real soon, man. That new fire that's coming real soon.
Kofi been reading something.
That book. Sean got one coming. I'm telling y'all. Sean got one coming. I'm just telling you. He's got something coming, and I have the privilege of reading it. I'm on the last chapter. It ain't came out yet, but I'm on the last chapter. Man, I'm telling you, man. It's
Sean, you got to call me and give me game on. Let me know what you breaking out with. Hey, my BFF LaDosha is in the house. What's up, Dosh?
I don't know why she ain't hopped on the panel.
My BFF in the building.
Yeah. But no, I mean, but just to be honest, like this is what we're up against. Like we're up against TikTok where they can just run amok and they can run it in 5 minutes and make it sound slick. They can make it sound slick in 5 minutes, and then it's gonna take you 45 minutes to an hour to trace down 4 or 5 of the claims, and then when you hear the other claims, you got to deal with them in the midst of all of that because it's so much. Right. Like when I was sitting down listening to your conversation, and you were breaking, of course, I know when certain parts of it were breaking down and things of that nature. What I started to see was him repeating himself to shield himself from what he didn't know. Right. He wouldn't just go out on a limb based on the edited version and say certain things because we know that you asked him, did he know what the study was named? Right.
And that didn't show, and they edited that part out when he said, yeah, because we know what happened in Tuskegee. And then I said, well, what do you think happened in Tuskegee? But that got edited out. You just see him. Then that's when he on the ledge. Then he's like, well, I think he didn't know. Right. But he thought he was going to be able to get that one off and just throw out Tuskegee and say, yeah, because you know what they did to us in Tuskegee. But I'm like, well, what do you think happened there? And then you hear what he said. So they don't show me asking him that. They just show him then saying, well, I think what they did, and he's like all kinds of wrong. But you can kick that out if nobody's going to call you on it.
He was DOH, They knew that already. They had to make it interesting.
He was done. They set him up.
Hey, but
They
I
made you look
was
amazing.
proud of that brother for showing up to even agreeing to sit down and do that. I mean, I don't know if he knew, that I was the cat on the other side, but
Man.
he know that he's coming to some people who are out here campaigning for vaccine awareness and trying to get people not to be hesitant. He does know that. So, and it's his second time talking to people.
On the screen. Hey,
I was
Sean.
more proud of you, Chill, than I
Hey,
was of
Sean.
him.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean. My
Who
mom
is that saying that?
Just stepped in here, man. You'll finish the interview for me. We was on the last leg of.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Who was just talking to me?
This Chavez.
Oh my God, man, dude. Hey, dude, man, let me tell you, he ran up in the whole post. Man, chin checking.
We do this for fun. Chill.
Hey, they still want it. At least one or two more dudes still want it. They said, bring your friends. Like he still wants
none
it.
of them was ready. The best one, I went after the best ones, and none of them was ready.
And you went after one of my friends too. You did a Sean on me. You went after one of my friends. The dude who you was talking to, True Soul, he's a real dope graffiti artist. I mean, he's super dope in the hood. And he was like the only cat who I really knew. Other people were just talking crazy, but that's I can consider Soul a friend. But he came for me, and before I could even say anything, man, you was in there swinging. You kicked down the door waving a 44.
They gave it, but I said it was an infestation up in there, man. It was too many.
Man, you and Juju, man, you was really. I'm saying you busted in with the 44. You had your Desi.
It's
information police.
To extend those, I'm trying to tell them boys some tech, man. That thing is a game. Information police out here, man. We watching everything. We patrol it. We see any kind of funny business. Anytime y'all out here misinforming the people, I'm out there. I'm dropping sources too. So I'm not going to argue with you. You can argue with these experts.
Hey, I don't remember Sean. I don't know if Sean remembers one of the first times I really met Sean online is when Dr. Phil Valentine came for me by name. He Kevin Chill Heard and dropped like 3 paragraphs on me. And Sean jumped in and just called that G pseudo and I was like, Sean came in. I'm like, I like this guy, Sean.
Yeah, I came for him, man, because he was all out.
I ain't even know you like that, Sean.
He was wrong as 2 left feet. And got mad at you for being right.
Right. He came at me by name.
Like, this is where some of this misinformation comes from, is the people that are holding on to a belief. And then it gets crazier the more you sit there and listen to him. He told people to paint their house with lead.
But yeah, he was kicking that Ivan Van Sertima. It was an Ivan Van Sertima discussion. And I just, called out some things that were, inconsistent with what he was saying. And he came for me by name with like 3 paragraphs. And next thing I know, Sean was in there kung fu fighting.
Yeah, it was on.
I'm like, look at this kid right here. Big ups.
Yeah, but it's easy to catch them sometimes, but I think that people don't realize, like, while they're watching these TikTok videos, Instagram, sharing and retweeting and all of those things, we're reading books, we're reading studies, we're reviewing experts' work in the subject, in the field of study. We're asking questions, we're challenging the methods, right? We're understanding how to disseminate the information and how they came to the conclusions. We're reading the studies. What we know, we can kick it to you. What we don't know, we're going to be able to find it if we don't have the answer right then and there. We don't act like we know everything. The problem is it may look like we know everything because we know where to go to get the information to you so that you got the right stuff. The problem is your people are unreceptive to that. So I got a question for you, Chill. How do you feel, right? Because you was just in this conversation with this person. You didn't host it several vaccine conversations between me, Dr. Cole, our brother Stereo, and the likes, right? How do you feel when, especially during the debate? Let's deal with that. How did you feel during the debate when you looked at one side of the argument and they presented what they presented, and then you looked at the other side of the argument and it didn't even look like the other side of the argument? It was two different styles of debate going on.
Right.
And so here's my question. Do you think because one side was a little bit more learned than the other side that people in the audience could be totally confused?
Yeah, I know, but the funny thing about that, like even from the debate when we had that, like I know a lot of people but we got the echo chamber on our side saying, oh yeah, this side killed them. They presented information. The other side didn't present any information. They had facts. They had data. They had research. Like, man, they killed Stereo in them. But I had other people on the other side saying, man, Stereo and them did their thing. I'm like, is that what y'all heard? But I know that to be the case when people are listening to what they want to hear. Just like, people are upset with me about saying that them white people didn't give us syphilis during the Tuskegee study.
Right.
It's the I guess it's the same thing when when the Shamsu Haru said that Kemet doesn't mean black. It's like you're going against black people. It not information. So but I think more people after seeing you guys, well, Ankh and Dr. Ankh and Dr. Ma'at and and you, Sean, and you present that information that I mean, it's the same thing. I feel sad when people are presented with the information in their face and don't get it. I don't know if they don't get it or they're just acting like they don't get it. Is it a real block there, or are they just saying, I don't care what you say, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not taking that stuff, no matter what you're saying? And that type of mentality worries me. I mean, and it makes me sad, especially when it comes to our health and our community and black people and our parents. Everybody know how I love my mama, and I make sure that she, and she makes sure she understands. And by the way, my mama's still mad at you, Sean, for saying she stole that book. But anyway,
I didn't say that she stole the book. You insinuated that someone stole your book, and I said
I never said my mama stole that book.
Oh, boy, Sean disrespectful, man.
My mama hot with Sean about that.
Fault, bro. This was totally on chill. Listen, he set me up.
Mama,
he set me up because he said he had a book, bro. He said he didn't. He said only one person been down here in my library.
I didn't say. Well, I said a couple, but I had suspects. I had 1.5 suspects like spades. 1.5. 1.5. But none of them was my mama. You said that. But anyhow,
one that come down there and grab that book.
And you still saying it, Sean. My mama probably watching right now.
She watching right now. I know she is.
But no, man, it saddens me. It saddens me. To answer your question, it saddens me, and it also shows me that we in trouble. I don't see how we're gonna get out of this with the mentality that we have of rejecting literacy and just basic information of biology. And I mean, if you can't tell, just the fact that you can't tell people you can't create an antibody with a leaf or a burdock root or some sea moss, when you can't make people understand that you can't create an antibody with that, we in trouble, man. I'm sad about that.
It's nothing that's just the way of the world that we live in is natural selection. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, and you know what? It's a different. It was a difference when the argument was, did the Egyptians sail to the Americas, or
Right,
is the Earth flat? It ain't no real consequences to that.
right,
I mean, it's one
Right.
thing, when we argue about that, but we in the middle of a pandemic, man. I heard somebody say the other day that the vaccine is race equitable, like black people and white people can all get the vaccine for free. But the COVID virus doesn't have that same equity because black
right.
people aren't afforded the same health care as white people. So it should, and that's another thing. I fail to understand how we're afraid and fighting against the vaccine, but we seem to be real cool with the virus. I don't understand it.
Say that same
Uh,
thing every day,
yeah,
chill.
yeah. They don't understand the ramifications of a natural infection, right? So um it's not common to them to see it because first of all the virus is blind, but secondly they don't know what COVID lungs look like because they can't see it. They don't look at it. They don't even take the time to do that. COVID toes, COVID fingers, COVID tongue, brain fog. They don't know what COVID heart looks like. They don't know, like, people are talking about myocarditis, right? From vaccines. But have you really seen COVID heart, ladies and gentlemen?
Wow.
Like, go see how COVID ravages the heart. It's way worse. You got a vaccine. You afforded some protection against all of that. You might have a little reaction to it, which is rare, and it happens in all vaccines, which is another problem. People try to isolate these little adverse effects to just the mRNA vaccines. That is further from the truth. All of these things happen in time spans in all vaccines. However, you're not looking at kidneys. You're not looking at lungs. You're not looking at liver. You're not looking at the heart, right? You're not looking at the your veins, that blood flow. You didn't even know that COVID could cause blood clots. You didn't even know COVID can cause gangrene, erectile dysfunction,
Oh Lord.
right? You
They
didn't
need to hear
know.
about that.
Come on now. You didn't know that it's attacking your total body. So even when you're naturally infected, the disease is spreading naturally throughout your body. Just because you're asymptomatic doesn't mean that there's pressure being applied to the rest of your body that may cause long-term illnesses within. So chill.
So let me say, the sad part is that you see all these videos of these people that have previously been anti-vaccine, specifically the anti COVID vaccine. And when they get it, then they start making videos saying, hey, y'all, this is real. Like, it was always real.
Yeah.
It didn't just become
Right.
real because you got it. It's been real, not real because you got it. So,
That's
come
just
on,
what
man.
happened. Because it gotta happen to them. It gotta happen to either them or it gotta happen
Right.
to somebody real close to them. But
Close to
for
them.
it to click.
Right.
And I know, Sean, you want to ask me a question, but I want to say another thing. The jacket that I was wearing in that commercial, because some people, got joked like, "Chill, why you got that blue jacket on?"
Yeah, man.
But that jacket belonged to one of my boys, T. Price. T. Price, man, I talked to T. Price for so long about getting vaccinated. This dude was he was an athlete in college, and he was a track teacher at one of the local high schools. And he was not taking the vaccine. He had all conspiracy theories about that vaccine. He would not take it. And he caught COVID. And even after he caught COVID, he still was saying that he was not taking the vaccine. And my brother, T. Price, made transition behind the COVID virus. And so his wife gave a few of his boys some of his stuff. I said, man, I'll take that jacket, because I seen T. Price flexing that jacket before. I said, I'll take that jacket, and I'm going to wear that jacket when I do this vaccine commercial. And so it helped remind me why I'm putting myself out there publicly for people. Oh, it's cool when they saying, "Oh yeah, chill, that was dope. Oh yeah, I saw you on TV. I saw you on the billboards, the bus stop, man. Yeah, you doing your thing. Can I get your autograph?" But it's another thing when people out there like, "Oh, Chill is a trader. He's an agent. He's an Uncle Tom. He's like, oh, they done paid Chill off." But I wore that jacket. That was T. Price's jacket. I wore that jacket to remind myself why I am doing this.
Got you. Okay, so
and there go my mama, and she ain't got the book behind her.
Yeah, she ain't got it behind. Hey, look. So we got you in the video with your moms, right?
Right.
And now you just gave us the backstory to T, right? What it meant.
Your brother jacket. Yep.
Right. What the jacket meant. So now we understand the significance, ladies and gentlemen, of the jacket in the video and why he's rocking it. We also see you with some African beads, necklace, and you got your DNA geared up.
Right.
You asked it up, right? You represent. Right. How many takes did you have to go through to produce pretty much a minute long, video?
I'm always camera ready, Sean. And they said that they told me how much time, because it's other people on the campaign, they call them guardians. And so they had done like maybe two other commercials. The abuela, the grandmother, the Latin ex-grandmother, and then the other sister, the OG grandmother that did it. But because it was something that I had to do, and I said I only got this short amount of time because it was something else I had to do. And so they said, well, we'll see if we can get it done. So although we did a lot of shots, a lot of different angles, because as you can see, we're in my mother's house right there. And then you see me on my street, actually on the street where I grew up in Lee Harvard. I'm walking down the street on everybody knows, I grew up on a street called Walden Avenue. And so I'm in front of my house on Walden Avenue. So we go from in the house to the street. Then we go to Lee Road. Everybody hears me talking about Lee and Harvard. I'm actually in front of the barber shop on Lee Road. And it's raining, so they can see the rain coming on my jacket during that part of it. And then I'm in the barber shop. So they're taking different angles. So when I say, they had a wide shot, we're Tuskegeeing ourselves. Then they come right up over me looking down, and I'm saying something about we got to protect ourselves. Then I stop. Then they get another camera angle, and then I say something else. So they shot a lot of different angles, but as far as what I was saying, because even one of the things was like, Chill, who paid you to say that? Like, who wrote that for you? And I'm like, who wrote Tuskegeeing yourselves? No, as far as I know, I created that term. That's organic. And I called my attorney to see if I can trademark that. My patent trademark intellectual properties attorney. I'm lawyered up all the time. But so we're talking about that. But I'm like, nobody wrote that for me. I 100% created that. That's one of the reasons. And I think one of your questions, how did I even get to do this? Well, before I get to that, was there something else you wanted to ask me? We did a lot of takes, but
no. We on the video. We on the video right now. And what I'm gonna do is I wanna get your perspective on the video. Then I'm gonna play it, and then I'm gonna bring in LaDosha.
All right. My mama makes puzzles. She does puzzles. That's what she do to keep sharp. She does puzzles, so she loves making puzzles. And they came in taking her puzzle apart, and she was like, "What in the hell?" But yeah, so they didn't want to finish puzzle. The people with the camera start taking her puzzles apart so she could put them back together. But go ahead.
Okay. So all right, so we're gonna play the video now. We got the full understanding of where we are. He gave us the backdrop. We know the house. We know the street. We know the significance of the coat. We got all of that. So here we go.
Yo, Talk to me, Cleveland. Have you not had your shot yet? I know you're worried.
Now we're out in front of my mama's house.
It's going to be like another Tuskegee. Here's the situation, people. In Tuskegee,
Now I'm
they
in the
give us the
barbershop.
disease. But what they didn't do was give us the cure. But by not taking this vaccine, we're Tuskegeeing ourselves.
Close
and if
up.
the doctor...
Go ahead.
Through the mirror. Yeah, so that's the short version. So this one doesn't have me outside.
No.
Yeah, so yeah, the other one I'm outside in front of the barbershop and it's raining. I'm out there in the rain doing that. But yeah, so yeah, now I'm in the barbershop. In my barbershop. This is the barbershop, you know, where they tighten me up.
Gotcha.
Forever. Been my barber since way back.
Turned into zombie.
Gotcha.
By now, then you won't either.
Now I'm gonna go back.
Okay, but Sean, I wanted, because people also question me about, you know, if your doctors and your grandmother hasn't turned into zombies by now. What they're missing is I'm relaying the fact that those were the first two people to get the vaccine. Before everybody else got it, doctors, first responders, those people got the shot first. Then the senior citizens got the shot first. So I'm saying, if your doctors and your grandmama haven't turned into zombies by now, you aren't either, because by the time you got it, 1,000,000-something people had already been vaccinated. So the doctors and your grandmama was the first people to get it way before everybody else got it. So if they ain't turned into zombies by now, chances are you won't either.
Facts. So here's the longer version. Here's the longer version of it. And then we go bring in Sister LaDosha.
Yo, talk to me, Cleveland. Have you not had your shot yet? Really? Are you serious? I know you're worried. You're thinking it's going to be like another Tuskegee? I get it. They've been doing black people dirty for years. So why wouldn't we be concerned this time? Here's the situation, people. In Tuskegee, they did not give us the disease. But what they didn't do was give us the cure. But by not taking this vaccine, we're Tuskegeeing ourselves. The truth is, if we don't protect ourselves, nobody will. We're at over 150 million people vaccinated. And if your doctor and your mother haven't turned into zombies by now, then you won't either.
Man, that was a good video. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I was very, very, very pleased with the video. It hit right to the point. Even though it was a short spanned amount of time, you brought it. But right now, you know, the reason that we're all in the building today and doing the things that we're doing, Marlon want to know where that barbershop at. I think he might be in the lane,
he said he in Cleveland.
Yeah, the barbershop is on Lee and Harvard. Carl's Barbershop is one of the oldest black-owned businesses on Lee and Harvard. It's next to the Chic. What used to be the Chic nightclub. And every time I go to the barbershop, I'm out there looking for my front tooth because I was in a big fight in front of the Chic nightclub, and I got my front tooth knocked out. So every time I'm there, they're like, "Chill, what you doing out there?" When I shot the commercial, I was like, I need everybody, cameraman, everybody look around to see if they see my front tooth. It's still out here somewhere from a fight I had in 1986. But no, 1985 when the record first came out. But yeah, so yeah, it's Lee Carl's Barbershop. It's on Lee Harvard Plaza, Lee Harvard Stand Up.
All right. So, Sister LaDosha, how you doing? Welcome to the show. You know, we appreciate you coming on, supporting your brother.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. What's up, Dose?
What's going on? First of all, I just want to say how proud of you I am. I am extremely, extremely proud of you.
Dose, we came a long way from when we was about to get arrested in the parking lot of Kent State University.
Why you gotta don't bring that up? But this is why I started not to come into the chat. But
when we got cornered up by the popo.
Sister LaDosha was in that thug argument. What happened, Sister LaDosha?
Don't listen to him. No,
Dose gang
we gonna
gang.
keep. We gonna move. This is an intelligent folk platform. We gonna move past that. Okay.
I just let them know,
We
Yeah,
gonna
we
Dose.
move
still
Me
gonna
and
past
you
be
don't know
intelligent. We still gonna be intelligent.
the
We're
Dose. I
gonna
just want to give you
intelligently understand what happened.
Dose.
Tell us
I'm
what
saying
happened
this
to
is real, Dose. Me and you just don't hook up and talk about. We go back to drama. Me and Dose go
Yes,
back.
yes. So
Uh-oh.
I'm still gonna move past that. So here's my thing, Sean. So here's my thing. So really like three things. So one, like I said, I'm very proud of Chill. Two, I cannot tell you guys how much I appreciate what you all are doing because I'm a business owner. I have a little small salon, in Cleveland Heights. And to your point that you were making about our responsibility of, not letting these people come into the space with this false information. So we do hear a lot and I had to ask a person to leave because she kept, putting out information about the Tuskegee experiment that really had people kind of like, like what's she saying? And I'm like, no, I can't let her do that. And so to your point, we have to be really careful because people trust hairstylists and barbershops a little bit more than they trust their doctors in some instances. And I'm not really making that up, okay? So I like that you guys have this platform because we can send our customers, to your platform to hear, what you guys have to say. And I will have to admit, we are seeing some people, make a change and take some shots. And we are seeing some people who are still a little bit, they don't want to do it. But I did see, I think it was a Dehudi that said I might say something interesting. So here's my
Mhm.
interesting point. I really think that what we're dealing with is a mental health issue, and that all of this is a classic case of oppositional defiant disorder, you know. And so this is something where, people psychosocially, these people are at an adolescent stage of development where just because an authority said do something, they're like, I ain't doing it. And that's just classic teenage behavior, in their psychosocial development, these people are not there. And so, I, I think that is we still have to do our part as responsible citizens in the community and leaders or whatever, adjective they want to use to describe us to really help carry, the country, the nation, the planet forward. And the people who are just behind, it's not going to happen. If you look up oppositional defiant disorder, they fit the classic profile. It's their science. You know what I'm saying? And so, and it's very real. Oppositional defiant disorder is a very real disorder. And I think that's what we're dealing with when you cannot, have a conversation with people about their role and what they're supposed to do. And they're like, I ain't doing it. My freedom, but yet they put their seatbelt on. You see what I'm saying? It's just like,
Right.
it just behooves me.
That's a great point that you made right there about the seatbelt analogy, and then the fact that they do just want to be teenage children, rebellious, resentment of being responsible, right? And I think that I think
Yeah, I
I learned
mean,
more. I learned more about that with my post that you hopped on. When I said my
yep,
13-year-old son was more, what he said basically, he's being more responsible than you adults, right? And that rubbed
right.
a lot of people
That
wrong
guy,
because of so many comments, and
yeah,
they still
I
commenting.
mean, yeah, yeah, I mean, and that's so when you're dealing, I mean, when I was an outreach worker and how you deal with oppositional defiant disorder, the way the government's approach is really good.
You broke up, Dos. You broke up, and Chill fell off during his interview.
It's that's really the best way is through education. So whenever we were working with families who had teenagers that had this diagnosis, all you could do is give the information, because chronologically their age is one number, but psychosocially their state of, their mentality, their brain hasn't even matured. I mean, it's some of this is just kind of futile. Like Chill talked to the guy, he couldn't get it. Why? Because he was being defiant. You can't, you know, adolescence is a revisit to toddlerhood. If you try to make a toddler, eat their peas, it's never going to happen. It's not going to happen. So, but when they grow up, they realize that peas are good for them, and I think this is what's going to happen during this pandemic.
Absolutely, totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah.
So,
And then also one last thing. I
go
came
ahead.
across a YouTube channel. It was called The Science Show. And so this guy was breaking down the science of the mRNA. And I'm not trying to be funny. And I think if you want, we could talk about this once I get out of the chat. But I'm telling you, the science, when I say the science, I'm talking about the the nanotechnology
Yeah,
that's
lipid
used to
nanoparticle.
get
Yeah.
okay. That is very similar to how we process hair color. No joke. Not even
Mm.
joking. Not even
Australian
joking.
guy.
It's
He came up
almost
with this.
identical.
Oh, now he want to come back. Look at this. Look at this fool. Your
So
mama here.
so we
Dude,
have
what
to
you doing?
talk.
Go
So
ahead,
we have to
Adon.
talk about that. Nah, yes, but I'm serious. So I'm not even joking. So I wrote it down, and I could just see a lot of parallels to people who are saying, like my cousin is anti-vax. She's a nurse, and she says the reason why she's not taking it is because the science is too new. She doesn't believe that they could create a vaccine that fast. She's not
That's
buying
not
it.
true. But that's not true.
Hold
They've
on
been
now. Here
they
we
I
go. Kofi, an expert now. Look, now hold on, Ladosha. Kofi, expert now. Go ahead, Kofi, expert.
I'm just saying that's not true. I'm not an expert, but
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
You've been
I
reading that
know,
book. You've been reading
I
that book.
know. I've been reading that book. I've been reading that book, but they've been doing this for over 30 some years. You know what I'm saying? They put a halt on it. You know what I'm saying? Until this coronavirus came back up, but then they picked back up the study. So everybody that's saying that this is new, you know what I'm saying, it came too quick. That is definitely untrue. If you go back and look, they started this about 30 years ago.
She says she doesn't believe it. She is a certified, I mean, she's a licensed, registered nurse. And she says
But we
she's
have to
actually
put that in.
quitting her job.
Yeah, we have to put that in perspective, of course, because she has to get vaccinated or she won't have a job. So we have to put that in perspective. People, all right, so a nurse doesn't deal with scientific data. A nurse knows how to do specific tasks. So they're very knowledgeable about the position that they actually take regarding what treating patients, right? They have to be right there in those symptoms, signs, looks, behaviors, dosage, things like that. So at the end of the day, you can't put it all on nurses because they can reject certain things, but some nurses are doing it just out of spite and out of ignorance. As we learned from Dr. Cole and other doctors, right? They don't have the time. These people in the hospital fighting all this COVID stuff, and this is what's shameful for me, is you're fighting all of this stuff and you're seeing this happen. You're seeing this happen to patients, and you don't want to get the vaccine because you have a personal feeling about some science that you haven't had the time to study because you're so in high demand. How can she learn if all she doing is trying to assist and aid patients? She knows she's wearing 2 masks. She got on this big old suit running around there. She know what the trauma center look like dealing with these particular people. You know, she's seen all of this. My cousin, who was also an RN, she caught COVID from working. And then she had to go home and quarantine for 14 days and then had to take 3 tests and had to pass all 3 of those tests before they let her come back. And she got right back to the 14 to 16 hours a day in the hospital trying to help these patients, because it's a lot of work. And I don't think that people understand what that ECMO looked like. And this is why I don't get it. She says she's hesitant because of the technology. I think that just comes where she put her wall up at, because she doesn't want to know. If she wanted to know, you know, she could find some entrusted information that she in people that she can rely on, like experts, to get that information. And I think they need to do a better job of that, because the nursing board overall, the nursing board has came out and put their statement behind the vaccine, but that doesn't make up the individual.
Right. Yeah, but you have, well, one, she's not actively in the hospital. She's, you know, she's in an administrative part of nursing, so she doesn't really work with patients. Not that that makes is an excuse, but I understand what you're saying 100%, because I do service several nurses who have spoke, you know, to the same points that you just made. But I'm gonna go back to what Chill just said. I mean, what said moments ago, and that statement was, and I'm not saying that the science of this is basic, but to your point, science is something that's evolving and we build upon. We all remember that science kit in the 6th grade class where we had to, you know, grow a piece of, you know, fungus into the petri dish,
Allergy,
and you know, so yeah, so, and cutting the frog. So this science of that they're using is evolved, but it's not new. So even though, and I'm not saying, like I said, I understand what you're saying about nurses, but to me, she's got to understand that all the medicine in science is something that's building off of something that's previous.
Correct. And that's how you get breakthroughs. You get scientific breakthroughs based on the building blocks that came before you. This is why when people claim that one person created mRNA, right, that the technology is frowned upon, because this one person, Robert Malone, can't be credited with a breakthrough. Are we going to give Champollion all the credit for the metal nature? No, because there was people that came way before a Champollion that helped engineer it and make it easy for him. Without that, you don't get what is required. So I just think ultimately, when we slow this thing down, we can be more beneficial to one another. But we have to be honest and get rid of our biases, because it stands in the way of actual progress. Well, welcome back, Chill. What do you think? What is your take on?
Because I still can't. I don't know what's going on with because I still can't see you guys, but I'm assuming you can see me and hear me.
Yeah, we see.
Okay, because I can't see anything. Okay, what did I miss?
Well, you know, LaDosha was talking about the time y'all broke into a school building and stole some notebooks.
Stop it.
Nah, she was talking about, you know, a relative of hers that's a nurse, and she was kind of, you know, she's against the taking the vaccine. She just don't believe they can make a vaccine that fast and things like that. The hesitancy part, and you see, we can work with her. We can have conversations with her to guide her in the process, because her objections aren't what we see every day on social media. She's being specific. Hers is about the process.
Right. No, I mean, I get hesitancy. I mean, if you're hesitant, that's one thing. You just need some information. I'm
sorry for cutting you off, Phil. I was just, you know, going back to your statement that to say that something is new when everybody, I mean, you don't have to be that much of a learned person to really understand that there's really nothing new under the sun. Everything is evolving from something. So for my cousin to say, I mean, you're talking about they have 3 generations in one household, that nobody is being vaccinated. Of course, they're taking her lead, and her rationale is she does not believe that they were able to produce this vaccine in that short period of time. And I'm like, you got to be the most idiot you can't be. I didn't say that, of course, but you know, I was just like, no, I mean, the science is evolving from something before, like Sean just said, it's building blocks. As the nurse you've got to understand at least that much in science or medicine or biology. I mean, everything is evolving. So I don't even understand why people are saying it's so new, even if you don't understand the intricacies of it. I remember when, I don't know, Sean, you guys might be too young to remember, but Chill, do you remember when they first introduced the watermelon? They were taking the seeds out of the watermelons. Oh my God. The it was like everybody thought the world was coming to an end because they were going to produce seedless fruit. Do you remember that,
Yeah,
Chill?
but you know what? That was around the same time that they were saying that tilapia was bioengineered, not real fish. I'm like, man, do y'all know how old tilapia is? Come on, man. They had tilapia. It's a tilapia fish. This a freaking metal glyph. Like, come on, stop it.
But so, Sean, that's what I'm saying. It's just that type of chaos that like people are. I remember when Tylenol first came on the market. I don't know if you remember that either, Chill. When people thought just because it was in the red bottle, it was like the devil. But I remember all of this as a kid. Like, are y'all people for real?
But you know what? And Sean, I mean, and we've had to use this example. People who will not take the vaccine will take Tylenol.
And it has side effects on it. You can get
and
side, it
and
got side
and
effects.
some deaths behind it. I mean,
Exactly.
very small, but more
Yeah.
than the COVID
Mhm.
more than the COVID vaccine. But
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
yes,
Kofi, what was you over there trying to get off?
Oh, I don't know, man. I done had so many things, man.
but I do. Before we leave, I do want to say, man, how proud I am of Ladosha. Man, if y'all don't know how much work that Ladosha has put in since when I very first met her. Man, Ladosha is like burning down the house, getting it in.
Yeah, I see it.
From when I first met Ladosha, those tell you, she knew how we get down, around our house with just information and books and learning. When she came hanging out with the crew, she came to a hip hop crew, but she left with a knowledge based crew. Is that true, Ladosha?
That's you're right. You're absolutely 100% correct. I mean, I love to tell the story of how I was like that bimbo, that little ghetto chick, and you were like, listen, we ain't really having that in our circle, and that's what Sean was saying even today, that we do have a greater responsibility than just to ourselves. We have to understand that what we do is going to affect another person. And we need people like you guys to raise the bar to say, not so much you can't sit with us, but that you can do better. And the only way we can do it, we can't be punitive towards these people. We have to do like Chill gave me a choice. You could get with this and you can get with that. You're not
Ladosha
hanging
was
around
hot.
us.
She
You can
was
get with
hot
that,
with
but
me.
then you get with this, but this is where it's
Hey,
at. Where it's at.
Kofi, Ladosha was hot with me. Should
Yeah.
nobody want to hang out with you? No way. Forget you.
Coffee, I was like, forget you, forgot you, never thought about you. I mean, he was just, he was basically like, you can't, just because you got a body and you got long hair, we're not impressed by that. And I'm like, what?
Right.
That I really had to get my act together. You're a mother. There's more you can bring to the table. You can't be carrying on like this. So, again, and that's what Sean was saying. We can't let these people do that. We can't fight them, but we have to hold them accountable by saying, where did you get that information from? And I'm going to send you guys the information that customers are sending me because they cannot come to the salon. They're not allowed. And I ask them respectfully to leave.
Those are putting people out.
I am.
Those putting people out.
but but yeah, we if anybody got anything else, man, because we've been on 2 hours
Any
and
questions before we shut it down?
yeah, we've been
Anybody got a
on
question for me before we
yeah,
shut it down?
We've been on 2 hours and 23 minutes, and I promised him, and I always get off at an hour and a half. We've been on 2.5 hours. I appreciate you, Sean, too, for taking over, man. While my mom came, I stay way out in the country, so my mama drove way out here. I couldn't be like, well, Mama, I'm doing a show. You're gonna have to come back. And she didn't burn all her gas to come out here, so I had to jump off for a minute. Appreciate that. Anybody got anything else to chill, or anybody in the audience got any last thing for good brother?
When your next interview, man? Who you gonna have on? What's the topic? You know, who can we?
The next
I ain't talking to you, Kofi. I'm talking.
Oh, you talking to me?
Oh, my bad. Okay, sorry.
We go get Josh Krebs in here. You know, who played for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, Mr. Kick Returner,
Mr.
and wide receiver,
and I
ex quarterback.
One of the greatest quarterback in Kent State history.
Yeah. Look, I'm familiar.
Hey, but I tell people, Sean, not only was he a dynamic kick returner, but people forget he was on the defensive team. He'd run down on the kickoff returns and knock the crap out of somebody who was returning kicks and punts. He played both sides of the special teams and was balling out on both sides, and basically was a walk-on. But so yeah, we're gonna get Josh Krebs on, and I still got a lot of my hip hop cats that I haven't had on yet. I've had a few. I had Dana Dane, I had Fresh Gordon, but I got to get Sal on the show. The owner, you know, of Fever Records and the club, The Fever. Fly Ty is supposed to come on, who is the president of Cold Chillin' Records, put on Big Daddy Kane, Roxanne Shante. He was there with Mr. Magic the day that I got discovered. We go talk to Tyrone Williams. I got some more martial artist people that I need to get on, but you know, and we just get, you know, we get, you know, entrepreneurs and people doing good business. We getting them on. So, but yeah, we working. Josh Krebs already said that, you know, just let them know. So, you know, it's football season now, so we'll get Josh Krebs. And I had to get my man Brad Sellers, who played with the Chicago Bulls, has a ring with Jordan. Every time you see that shot where Jordan shot it over Craig Elo, the beat with like no seconds left, the first person you see to run and grab him is Brad Sellers. Brad is now the mayor of a Cleveland suburb called Warrensville. Brad is the mayor of Warrensville. But that's my dude. So we're gonna get some people on. I'm working on Kizmiki. I'm working on Dr. Kiz.
Yeah, you gotta pull that off, man.
Yeah, because I don't know if y'all saw on Instagram, she responded back to me when she was in Cleveland. I'm like, what? You in Cleveland? How come I didn't know? And she was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna do better at getting information to you. And I'm like, damn, she responded to me. But and then I showed her the video. I sent her the link, and she responded to the video, damn, with 3 exclamation points.
There we go.
The lady who produced the video, I shot that to him, and she cried. Pure Black. Am I cool with Jazzo? Dosh. Okay, Dosh is gone. Yeah, Jazz is my dude, man. That's my boy. And I've been meaning to get Jazz on the show. Like, yeah, when I hung out in Brooklyn, Fresh Gordon, who produced, you know, 2 of my songs. You know, Jazz has been to my house in Cleveland. Yeah, Jazzo, who put Jay-Z on. That's another one of my fam. They showed me love when I came to Brooklyn, and I showed them love when they came to Cleveland. They done rolled up to Cleveland just to hang out. So yeah, Jazzo was that's my dude, big Jazz.
So you telling me that the lady cried when you sent her the information about the video?
The lady who produced the video, it's a sister, Mary. She's only like 24 years old.
Oh, okay.
She produced the video,
bro. And
for Dr. Kizmiki Corbett to see her video and say, "Damn," I screen captured and sent it, and she cried and sent it to her mother. Like, you know, basically the lady who, you know, we know who Dr. Kiz Corbett is. For her to see the video and react that way, yeah, that young sister cried when she saw the how Dr. Kez Corbett reacted to seeing the video.
Thanks. That's all I got for you, man. I appreciate you letting us know. No, hey, listen, chill everywhere, man. Instagram, Facebook, you know what I'm saying? YouTube, Kevin Chill Hurt, you know, catch him. Get linked into the Wednesdays, and you still doing them on Fridays? I know
On Wednesdays, I'm gonna go back to Fridays, but I'm gonna always do it on Wednesdays. Anybody go to the Kevin Chilhurt YouTube channel, you can see some old stuff. You can see me dropping bars. You can see debates. You can see me interviewing Michael B. Jordan, Halle Berry. You can see old interviews that Lawrence Fishburne. And I'm gonna get some more videos on of people because I've interviewed every single black actor that there is, and I'm gonna get some more videos up of people that I've interviewed. I mean, not just black. I interviewed Matt Damon and what's the dude who played Batman? Anyway, I interviewed, and I never even put that one up on my post yet. But yeah, Fresh Gordon, he's there. Pure Black said Fresh Gordon produced one of Jack. Hey, yo, crazy Pure Black. You know the song that Jazz did, Hawaiian Sophie, that the Tupac cracked joke on him about.
Yeah. They
asked me to do Hawaiian Sophie because Jazz didn't have a record deal at the time, and they had wrote it and did the production on it, and that was the song that Jazz and Jay-Z end up doing together.
Right.
But yeah, they asked me did I want to do the song. I guess because some of my songs had kind of storytelling in it. I'm like, I'm gonna let y'all keep that one. But yeah, Fresh Gordon, same cat that produced Jazz from the beginning, also produced Fat Boys in the House. He did Mary J. Blige. He produced tracks for Biggie, and Puffy came and bought them all back from him. Yeah, anybody that came through Brooklyn, Houdini, Fresh Gordon has produced them, but he also produced me. And I was living that Bed-Stuy life for a long time. That's another home of mine in New York. But yeah, that's Fresh Gordon is my brother. Gordy. I got the first interview with Gord after he got off vacation.
It's on my end, man.
Yeah, we're gonna end it, man. I was texting you, man. I seen you was off of here.
But my phone is out of power. My phone. I tried to get my wife to text LaDosha to find out what was it just me or was it everybody? But it was just me because my phone is and for some reason I can't even get it powered up. But yeah.
So I mean, I just wanted, I texted, but what I was just saying on the text, man, I truly appreciate you, man. I definitely enjoy the interview, man. I think this was a great interview. Everybody that was in the chat, man, threw up the fire signs and said this was a great video. Great interview, phenomenal video. It definitely was, man. And I learned a little bit more that I didn't know. Some of the questions I had, that I didn't know, you answered. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, even with the research that I did, find out certain things that I didn't know about you. Like I said, my respect level for you has gone, has definitely gone up. Like I said, I didn't know you were you have been a Pan-Africanist man and took African studies way back in the 80s. Like, so you've been rocking with this for a long time. Didn't know you wrote lyrics for Nelly Mel. I didn't know the story on how you actually got signed to Fever Records. I didn't know a lot about Fever Records. Neither I knew about the Fat Boys, Curtis Blow, and a few other people, but I wasn't really in there with Fever Records, man, or even the founder of Fever Records. And just looking into that, I learned a lot about what that guy actually did for the Bronx and stuff that he's still doing for the Bronx. So, but anyway, man, like I said, bro, I appreciate you, man. I tell you that all the time, man. I appreciate you for supporting us, man. You support us. And whatever we do, we don't even have to ask you, man. You just do it, and we just greatly appreciate you, man, for that. I appreciate you for coming on, man. I hit you last week, man. and say, man, can you do the interview? And you know, you came on the day after you got off the golf course. I guess you was out with your rich friends or whatever on the golf course
I don't
today,
know if they
man.
was rich, but I won some money from them.
Yeah,
Their
so
pockets a little lighter. But yeah, I
yeah,
hustled back from I was in Rochester, New York. I hustled back yesterday to make
yeah,
sure that
yeah,
I was here, got here for this.
man. So I definitely appreciate it, man. And next week we'll be interviewing the principal. She's the principal that you introduced me to.
Principal person, that's my
Right.
girl.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I bought a few books from her. Hopefully I can get in, just look at some of it and read some of the content and in the books I wrote, the children books. So I want to definitely read that, and I'm actually gonna get the two. I bought the two books for one for my son. It's a different book I bought for my stepdaughter, and then I'm gonna buy two more copies just to have for my own. So I told her I was gonna support her. I supported her. She's supposed to be coming on the show next week. We did Warrior Scholars this week. We're gonna do author's perspective next week, and then the week after that we got our good brother Chahudi Ma'at, who's a part of the session Ma'at New Meta Nature, and I guess who's a member of the MBK, and I guess he's still a member of them who has now changed their name to each one, teach one. So we got two other dope interviews coming up, man. But again, man, appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. Appreciate my brothers that's on the panel, brother Sutek, brother Sean, any Harriet, Sean California, man. And Chill, before you leave, can you tell people exactly where can they, if they want to go listen to your album, where can they go to listen to the album on YouTube, or if you're selling it anywhere, and then give your multiple platforms that people can see your content and reach you on if they're trying to reach you for an interview or reach you for anything.
All right, if they want to go and listen to my music, they can go on YouTube, or they can go to Apple, or they can go to Spotify and listen to some of my old school stuff. Fever Records has a catalog. They have a Live at the Fever. It's a classic album with all the Fever artists. Basically, everybody you saw in Crush Groove except me. It's all on that album, but I'm on the album as well. And of course, love Buzz Starsky, who was made transition, but it was a giant at the Fever. But yeah, so they can go to all those places. And actually, I just recorded. Well, I didn't just record, but we mastered. We did a version of the classic Juice Crew All-Star Song Symphony. Myself and three other Cleveland artists. I'm the old school. I'm the OG on the cut, but I still had to show the youngsters that I got that fire. Yeah. And but this is gonna be hot. So we redid the symphony, and with three dope Cleveland MCs, Eric Wilson, Scratch Paper, Riff Raff, the Blue Collar MC, and my little hip hop sis, Indica Spitz. It's the four of us doing a remake of Symphony, and so that's new. So you'll be able to get up on that one soon. But the old stuff, you can even go and find an old video of me performing like in 1986.
Oh yeah, I seen you with your lit high top on, your lit black suit on. I
Hey Kofi, you saw I was rocking a tuxedo and sneakers, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
I want you to find somebody rocking tuxedo and sneakers before that. Oh right. Yeah, they do it now. Oh yeah, they do it now.
Yeah, they do it now. Yeah,
I want you to find somebody who was doing it before that.
Oh, and before we leave here too, because it slipped my mind, but now that we went back to that, and you talking about the music and you mentioned the symphony. Were you ever cool? Did you ever meet Cool G Rap and Big Daddy Kane?
Man, first of all, the Juice Crew. Again, the Juice Crew was founded. They're named after Mr. Magic, where he also called him Sir Juice, and that was his group. Mr. Magic is the same guy that put me on. So I always laugh. I told Big Daddy Kane that I was responsible for him getting his record deal. because we only first ever heard Big Daddy Kane on a Biz Markie song, and everybody knows when we just lost Biz, and that was one of my. I mean, I know I say a lot of these cats are my really good friends, but Biz was probably, between him and Gordon, one of the closest friends I had in hip hop on the East Coast. But we first ever heard of Big Daddy Kane on a Biz Markie song, which I had before everybody. And I did a radio show, a hip hop radio show in Cleveland, and in the mid '80s, and I was rocking it so tough that people in Cleveland knew Big Daddy Kane from his lyrics in the Just Rhyming with Biz, and we had booked. Biz was coming to town, and I was like, y'all gonna need to bring Kane because everybody in Cleveland knows him. And so when I called up to the I was talking to Biz or somebody, and he was up at Cold Chillin', and the owner of Cold Chillin', Fly Ty, was like, "Yo, what's up, Chill? And we sending Biz the Cleveland to rock out with you, man. You know you fam." I said, "Yeah, but they really pumped about seeing Big Daddy Kane." And he went, "How do they know about Big Daddy Kane in Cleveland?" I'm like, "Cause I've been killing that record where Kane just comes on and drops heat." He was like, "Wait a minute. You playing a record with Big Daddy Kane on there and it's a Biz song?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Chill, no disrespect, but Big Daddy Kane ain't going nowhere till we get him signed. You could lightweight hear him in the hallway like, 'Yo, Kane, come back here. You're not going to Cleveland. I need to get you to sign some paperwork.'" So I once told Kane, "Hey, I'm responsible for getting you signed, Kane." But yeah, so I don't know Cool G Rap, and I'm really not that cool with Kane like that. But that's my Kane story. But Biz and Shantae, that's how I even got the deal, because Mr. Magic was in Cleveland with Roxanne Shantae, and I went to pick him up from the airport, and then one thing led to another, and I got the record deal. He took it to but the Juice Crew, them I look at those as my fam. Anybody that was connected to Mr. Magic or the Fever in New York, that's we all family. So me redoing the symphony with Cleveland artists, with my people, and calling it the Cleveland Symphony. And by the way, the actual Cleveland Symphony is a big deal in Cleveland. They tour the whole world. But so the Cleveland Symphony is gonna be dope. And it's just a head nod to the original Juice Crew Symphony, which are all contemporary. Actually, I was recording before some of them. But it's an honor of how strong that cut was. And you can't jump on a symphony track without fire. You can't jump on there and say something crazy. So hopefully people will dig my 2021 bars, even though we recorded 3 years ago and just had a problem with production, but it's done.
God, I can't wait to hear it, man. I definitely can't wait to hear it, man. But yeah, get the rest of your handles, man.
Oh yeah. So you can catch me on Instagram at Kevin Chill. Kevin Chillherd, which also called a Chillagram. You can also you can catch me on YouTube, my YouTube channel, Kevin Chillherd, and it's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff on there. It's a bunch of chill talks and old interviews that I've done with celebrities, and me just dropping bars, and you'll find a whole bunch of stuff on there. I think I might have Polite on there from way back, but that's another story. But and on Facebook you can catch me on my Chill Talk radio page on Facebook at Chill Talk to Me. And I have a few people left that I can still take friend requests on my personal Kevin MC Chill Herd page. I got like 3,000 people tucked that I have not accepted yet, but I think I can still get like 300 more people available for that. But but other than that, you guys can find me. Hit me up. Interview. You want to be interviewed, or you want to interview me? Let me know.
Again, man, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate everybody else, man, that tuned in, that rocked out with us the entire show. I said ATM Hotep in the beginning, which means bring forth peace. So now I want to say Shemim Hotep, which means depart in peace, Black African power, and we'll see y'all next week. And yeah, oh yeah, we definitely gonna be getting into. I'm actually I'm gonna get the hard copy too,
Yeah.
Kev. I got the audio. I gotta
Audio.
get this. Yeah, I gotta get that hard copy now.
He lived in Mississippi for a while.
Yeah, I didn't know that. You just told me that, man.
Yeah.
That's what made me gotta go and get the big. I gotta support the Mississippi. So yeah, peace and Black African power, y'all, and we'll see y'all next Sunday at 3 p.m. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
If I can get out of here to my remote, my thing, I'm gonna play the video before we get out.